And welcome to the We Like Sportz Show. I'm your host, Ed in Columbus, with my guy CJ in Cleveland. What's up, CJ?
Oh, another day, man. Tay Swift train just keeps rolling on down the tracks. She's going to get a Super Bowl in her first year. Haven't seen numbers like this ever. 55 million people to watch Taylor Swift take on the Baltimore Ravens. It is astounding. She's doing it all, and she's carrying this Chiefs dynasty forward.
Well, I'll say this about Tay. She's definitely got eyes on her, and those eyes are going to the Super Bowl. So, the CBS people have to be happy with them having the big game this year. So
can't wait to hear all them Tony Romo noises where he's like, "Oh, Jim, I don't."
Isn't he better than Jackson Mahomes, though? Or she better than Jackson Mahomes?
Oh, she's great. I love it. I love the hate. Nothing makes me happier than seeing angry white people on Twitter, because that's who's angry about her.
Is it only just the white people though? I see everybody. I think everybody's angry. I think everybody's angry.
People get angry over dumb stuff. I love watching it. It's just Travis Kelce scores a touchdown, they show on the camera. Jake Browning against the Browns, he made it. A 4-yard scramble. They show his hot girlfriend bouncing up and down, and everybody's stoked about it. She's a billionaire. She's double standard.
Well, fair. Do you think if Tay wore an outfit like Browning's girlfriend, things might be a little different?
She can't fill that out like Jake Browning's girl.
Hey, you said it, not I. Okay, I don't want them coming after me. I mean, there you go. He's in Cleveland, guys. CJ in Cleveland, stay away from Columbus. I did not say that.
Don't worry, I'm not in Cleveland Heights.
We'll leave it. You're gonna.
I'm not gonna run into old Donna Kelce on the streets.
Have you ever seen her?
I'm for it. I like her. I listen. I think Taylor Swift was awesome. I do. So I'm rooting for the Chiefs. My Chiefs' future was based on Taylor Swift, because she's going to be kissing them and the confetti falling.
That's going to be a lovely sight. Yeah, I like I said, I'll say one thing which I don't understand quite. You have pro teams in Cleveland, obviously, and you got this player, Travis Kelce, and he doesn't play for Cleveland. He doesn't help Cleveland out just because he's from Cleveland. Is it because Cleveland's so starved for attention? What is? I've never seen a city embrace somebody that doesn't do anything.
They're so cool. I think that's part of it. Because he said they're like the Mannings.
Yeah, that's
aura on them. They're this generation. Man, is weird because I think I said before. I couldn't probably tell you who Jason Kelce was 4 years ago. I didn't know. Center for the Eagles. Okay. Yeah. But they're great. They're hilarious. They're cool dudes. They're just from here.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, you know what is cool? This is Eddie Columbus with your We Like Sportz breaking news. That's right. The hottest team in basketball is the Cavaliers. And if you ask our own Keith Allen, who happens not to be here, he will say Cleveland basketball is doing good. Look at Cleveland State, who just beat Robert Morris and plays Detroit Mercy on Thursday. Go Vikings. For real, for real. Keith always will let them know. The championship games in the NFL are over, and so is the Lions season. But Kansas City marches on, meaning Tay is going to the Super Bowl, and Weird Beard Eminem has to take his ass back to 8 Mile. Maybe Slim Shady can reacquaint himself with Stan. Hi, my name is. And finally, the Browns have hired former Cleveland quarterback Ken Dorsey. And with the way the Browns go through quarterbacks, Dorsey might just have to don the jersey once again on game days. I'm sure Stefanski would embrace this because Kevin wants to hold on to play calling like a fat kid holds on to cake. And this is Eddie Columbus with your We Like Sportz breaking news.
It's so stupid breaking news anymore. They're so bad.
Thank you.
They're so bad. They're good.
Just speaking of bad, hi Peyton.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
It pops up.
Living
looking back and looking at Break Ed News because CJ, let me ask you, did Ed fuck it up this time?
No, but it's just so bad. It's good. Break Ed News is.
It's so good.
It's the epitome of like a dad joke stretched out over 3 bits.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
That's all it is.
I'm not trying to hide that, CJ. I'm not trying to hide.
I'm just glad we don't do an hour of comedy because we'd be in trouble.
Yeah, I would say after about 30 seconds, we'd have about 59 minutes and 30 seconds to maybe have the janitor come on stage. Hey, what are you doing over there?
He's doing stand up, but he's also just cleaning up the stage from your shitty act.
Spin all tomatoes in
See?
Florida.
Okay, now Peyton, with that joke, now we only got 59 minutes to
Man, I can't do a full hour set. I don't know how well this is gonna go. That's why I do the sports talking side.
Oh, I thought that was his set.
Joke about the sports and my knowledge.
Yeah.
Well, we do have a great guest today on the show with us today, and I can't wait to have him on because
Is he now?
he is a Lions fan, and guys, what were your takes before we have him on? Come on,
I called it. I mean, I said it last week. I was like, the Lions, if they lose, like I wanted Detroit to win. I was like, if they lose it, Dan Campbell's going to do some dumb shit, and like he did. You know, he believes it, but it's the dumbest shit possible. The one when they were up 14 and they went for it, I'm just like, what the fuck? You go up 3 scores. Like, but Dan Campbell, he just, he wants to bite kneecaps off and be hilarious. I think Dan Campbell's an awesome coach. I do. But if I was a Lions fan, I would be so upset because, like, the fuck you doing, man? Let's not overthink this. But, and when you look at these coaches, we do the same thing with Stefanski. The Chargers had it with Brandon Allen. And you're going to go for it in, like, stupid situations and it works. Yeah, like, fuck yeah, dude, cool. We're going to score a touchdown. When it doesn't work, it looks so stupid.
Yeah. Well, like I said, our guest Scott Morganroth is going to be on, and he can tell CJ he's either right or wrong, or how they're feeling in Lions Nation.
He's right. I mean, I don't need somebody to tell me I'm right. I mean, if we were,
it's never stopped you before, CJ.
Like,
you never stopped you.
If the Browns were in that situation and we went forward up 14, and they drive down and score, and then we fumble, it's like, what the fuck? Dude, kick the field goal.
Yeah.
I think it's just common sense. Anybody that's a sports fan.
Yeah.
If you were like unbiased watching that game, like you probably pissed.
Peyton, your thought?
The story of the NFC this whole entire year, like especially the playoff wise, I mean, the art of the field goal is literally what lived and cost teams games. I mean, look at Green Bay, missed field goal, cost them the game. San Francisco could have had the same thing happen. Almost cost them the game. Jake Moody in the first half missed a field goal. Huge difference maker, too, going for that field goal instead of going for it on 4th down. Like CJ said, I mean, he's spot on. I mean, and I think that's kind of the benefit, too, is us being unbiased and not having any horse in this race right now.
Yeah.
The fact that we're able to see the NFC, I mean, yeah, you have young kickers, but the Browns knew it best with Cade York. You need a good field goal kicker. Look at Evan McPherson with the Bengals. You need a good field goal kicker because that helped them win games that year when you needed them. And I mean, to Scott, too, being on later on, I want to just get this out of the way right now.
Yep.
I feel like I have to apologize to him because that first half, I'm getting ready to end up finding people for the Super Bowl. Or if we want to end up being extremely professional, the big game.
The big game.
We're going to the game then.
Huge, massive game. So big.
So big.
I was watching the game and somebody asked me if I wanted to get Indian food at halftime. And
I don't know.
And I thought the Lions had it in the bag, but like part of me was like Dan Campbell's like I knew it was coming, Peyton.
I think you just had me personally. I mean, I sent it in the group chat. We were talking. I ended up having to say, I'm like, you think the Niners come back? And
I meant at that time, that's when I got asked if somebody asked me if I wanted Indian food. And I was like, no. Because,
are you willing to take a polygraph test on that one, CJ?
I will. If you believe it, it's not a lie.
You're not.
We might have to use the company card for that one. I don't know how expensive that polygraph
Well, Casey's paying. I think Casey's paying for it this time.
Casey has company card.
Okay.
Going into half, like that game was over. It's a book to Detroit. Brock Purdy looks like a fucking pumpkin again, and this is why we have the conversations that we have about Brock Purdy. Because like shit like that, this whole postseason he hasn't played a clean half of football.
But the thing is too is we talked about Brock Purdy a couple weeks ago, last week when I wasn't on the show. I listened to the show when I'm not on the show. Still end up keeping along with it, and I was having the conversation with people at work too. One of my buddies, Brandon from work, shout out to him.
Shout out, Brandon from work.
But we were talking about Brock Purdy and that question of is he elite? And if you look at the stats, like. Obviously, the team around him helps.
No, he's not.
Passing yards, though, he's in the top.
No, he's very good. He's very good. Listen, he's a very good elite quarterbacks. Don't fumble. Listen, I think like elite, I think there's like trying to think of it. There's probably 3 elite quarterbacks in the NFL, I'd say, like comfortably. 4 if you count Rodgers. I don't know what Rodgers can do like post Achilles. But I honestly think I think it's Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow. Like, cause you remember, like we were younger, like Tom Brady got the ball back with a minute 50 down.
Yeah.
Tom Brady's gonna go get you, like like you had that, like that's when a guy's. Like, I don't think you call Lamar elite anymore. Dude's gonna have 2 MVPs, but dude, that looked like fucking.
I mean, the whole entire.
What does that look like? What is it?
Just like dog shit. He looked like he couldn't throw the football.
Yeah,
like,
he could throw it to himself though really well.
Yeah.
That was Lamarvelous. That was
10.
Yeah, that
very
was
Lamarvelous.
Yeah,
but I think the feeling I had though too of that Lions game in 49ers, that AFC Championship game, it was good, but like as a football fan,
that game was so boring.
It left me wanting more, and I think, and I'm not saying there's
I
no
didn't want any more.
There's no proof behind it. Sports are fixed, but the NFC Championship game needed to be spiced up a little bit more, I think, and that's why I had that feeling. That
I thought the NFC game was good. I just kept thinking, like, Dan Campbell's about to do some fuck shit and fuck this up for everybody.
Hey now,
like he's just gonna do some dumb. And I told Ed, like he
did.
I was like, I think the Lions are gonna win, but if they lose, Dan Campbell's gonna do some dumb shit. And sure enough,
well. Speaking of that, let's just bring on the Motor City Mad Mouth himself, Scott Morganroth. Really? Welcome to the show, my guy. I got one question for you.
God, what a mustache.
Is Lions Nation, do they have the Honolulu Blues today?
Absolutely not.
Oh.
Ooh.
Okay.
I don't know what the Honolulu Blues is.
Well, that's the color of the Detroit Lions. It's Honolulu Blue if you're a Lions.
I know it all too well after 61 years.
Okay. All right. Well, okay, Scott.
And by the way, a little trivia. The last time the Detroit Lions won an NFL championship was on December 29th, 1957. My birthday, 5 years before I was born.
Yeah, as a Browns fan, us and Lions fans, we share the similar fate. We had glory days in the 50s, and when it's kind of been downhill since then.
Well, at some point, the fortunes are going to change without a doubt, and I have no doubt about it.
Well, maybe they change today because I want to get into it. Your offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, decides he wants to return to the Motor City and told the Commanders and the Seahawks, thanks, but no thanks. I don't think there's enough money for me to take my services to your programs and turn them around. So what are you feeling about that? You got to feel good about that at least.
No question about it. That means that, you know what, Ben Johnson's a very loyal coach, and to Campbell, there's no reason to take a job that, to me, is a bad job because, you may not get a second. So you be selective of the opportunities you get, go on your terms, continue to build what you're doing with the Lions and Jared Goff, and the job you want will be there. As long as you're producing in the NFL, okay, and you're a good coach, you're going to ultimately land one. You just simply will.
Absolutely.
And I think that Ben Johnson's, without a doubt, one of the brightest offensive minds in the league. And, you just have to go when it feels right. You got to, you ever heard of just being happy? If you're happy somewhere, then you just stay there.
Yeah. Well, I agree because a lot of these times these assistant coaches, maybe they're thinking they may not get another opportunity. But, you say you go to Washington. I mean, realistically, you're going to have a job 2-3 years and be fired anyways.
Well, he's going to be fine. I'm going to tell you guys that. He will be fine. You don't worry about getting another opportunity. What's wrong with being paid a lot of money as an offensive or defensive coordinator until that opportunity comes along? There's nothing wrong with it. See, listen, we're not talking about Latrell Sprewell, okay, where you can't feed your damn family. You can't do that. We all know about the choking part. But I'm saying, here's a guy who went bankrupt because he said he couldn't feed his family at Minnesota Timberwolves money. We're not dealing with that with these guys. They can feed their family. In fact, on my show later on tonight, Inside the Pigskin, I have former Detroit Lions special teams coach John Bonamego as a regular guest on the program. So maybe one of these days I'll bring all guys on there and talk to Coach Bono. He's my best kept secret out there,
Nice.
So, yeah, but with all due respect, you don't take a job prematurely. That's considered career suicide. Yeah. It is. So when you're asking me today, Ed, okay, am I feeling the Honolulu Blues? No, because of Ben Johnson.
Wow. Well, the only thing I guess I want to bring back to Latrell and the choking incident. So what it was about the game on Sunday? Do you feel like the 49ers came back and won it? Do you feel like it was a little bit of a choke job by the Lions, or just one of those games where in the Cosmos it just wasn't their time? What would you attribute it to? Because to me, look, I remember the Browns against Pittsburgh in 2002 in a playoff game. Same score, 24-7, and they lost, and Pittsburgh came back. So I mean, there were so many events that had to happen for this, for them to blow a 17-point lead, and it's heartbreaking, especially for a Lions fan and as a Browns fan watching it. So what are your takes on that?
It doesn't take a lot for momentum to swing in a football game. Remember, we're talking 60 minutes here, okay? We're not talking 60 minutes regular time. We're talking 60 minutes spread over 2 to 3 hours. Remember that, okay? So, did Dan Campbell make a couple decisions where a field goal would have been a better move? No doubt about it. I always feel if you have a chance to go for points in the playoffs, you do it. Yeah. But the guy coached this way all year. What made you think that he wasn't going to do it again?
Oh, I knew he was going for it. For it.
See, I created a little song here, and I don't expect you guys or anybody to offer me a singer's job, okay? But y'all want, here's a little 2 sentences. Let's see if you can handle it. You got to know, and it's after Kenny Rogers, the gambler, okay? You got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. You got to know when to kick a field goal, and you got to know when to walk away. That's it.
I think we're going to make that a hit. I think we're going to revive that, and we're going to make that into a hit.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Here's a money-making endeavor for all 5 of us. I came up with it. You guys promote it, and we'll take a little bit of that cabbage, and we'll be able to do our own 5 shows in Hawaii. How about that?
There you go.
We'll go out there, and if Maui thought that they had some bad weather before, wait till we have an earthquake creation here.
Sounds good.
Or earthquake, volcanoes. Is that what they have out in those parts? I
think something like, yeah.
They have those skirts though too out in Hawaii. I know that much. The grass skirts.
That's what I'll we'll have a luau. Have a big luau out there for a Lions-Browns Super Bowl someday. How about that?
Well, my wife is in the other room, Peyton, so it's okay to say that. It's no big deal. You want to talk about what do they call those whatchamajiggers? Those things that these Hawaiian women? I don't even know what those dresses are. But you got to know what I'm talking about, right?
Shout out to Mrs. Madmouth out there if you're in the other room. Shout out to you, by the way.
Yeah, she's glad I'm in here. She says, you got to burn some of that energy so I can get you to sleep. See, the one, what sleep has in common with me and a Rolls Royce? Okay, I'm going to hit. I told you I was going to bombard you, Peyton, with a ton of one-liners. Am I right? Am I
true? I love it. Take it. Go ahead.
Oh, come on, man. I expect to come on here as often as you guys want me, and we'll light this damn thing up. I don't even care. I'm going nuts. That's why I got the head. Oh, that's what happens from 61-year-old here, the fountain of youth or whatever. But you know what? Here's what sleep is to me, okay, compared to everybody else. I know we'll get Cadillac and Rolls Royce to sponsor us one of these days, so we'll all be sitting pretty. But sleep to me is like those vehicles. It is a luxury. A luxury.
Scott, I feel like you're the type of guy, too, that ends up getting maybe like 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night, too, if at all.
Well, you know what? You are a very nice person, Peyton. You really are. How about a couple?
Whoa.
And the way I look at it is, my ex-wife coined the phrase, my wheels are turning.
What's that?
You better believe they're always turning. And I was actually driving today back and forth to the doctor. I finally felt good enough to drive. And my wife's been driving a lot lately because, I got to be careful with some of their most recent medical conditions. But I had to swagger today. So here's what my version of an interstate is, okay? I'm the Dale Earnhardt of the interstate. I'm the interstate intimidator here. But I am. You get by me, boom, I'll blow you right now when this close. I don't care. But I'm king of the road. I don't have the hat on, but I have it somewhere.
Wow. Well,
so you guys getting more than you bargained for here? Come on, man. I told you this wasn't to be boring, right?
I'm about to pull in the pit stop. I don't think I have enough to compete with you. I'm going to have to just go to pit row right here.
If you get in a pit row and I'm behind you, I'm going to send you to the other end of the pit row where it actually becomes the pits.
Speaking of pits too, Scott, I do want to end up bringing it up too. We were talking beforehand, and I mean, out of all of us here, I'm the Steelers fan. You were telling me you had the luxury to cover the Steelers versus Cardinals Super Bowl game way back when, and I think that was 2008. What was that like? Before we end up diving in more into the Lions talk, I just want to know what that was like. I mean, everybody remembers the memorable moment. Steelers fan, football fan, Santonio Holmes in the end zone, the toe drag.
The Buckeye,
like?
Antonio Holmes, the Buckeye.
Right. You know, you got to remember one thing. I gave up my fanhood when I started in this business back in 1979. I'm taught to remain objective is what I'm supposed to do. So for me, I just go out there, soak it in, do what I've got to do, have my computer there, and continue to take a lot of notes to do what I have to do. So I look at it as business, okay? Yeah, you always want to go to a Super Bowl because you're part of an environment where great moments are something you remember for an entire lifetime. I had vested interest. I mean, I like the Arizona Cardinals too because I lived in the Phoenix area 2.5 years. But, Pittsburgh, I had some great memorable games while covering the Lions and the Steelers. And it was neat. I got to tell you a funny Pittsburgh story if you guys don't mind, okay?
Yeah, feel free, yeah.
I think this was really pretty good stuff here. So here's the deal, all right? Number one of my best friends, the late Joe Falls, I used to like to pull tricks on him, and Joe and I was really true to my own form doing this one. You talk about a poker face. I had it that day over at Three Rivers. So I told Joe, and I ended up. I used to see him a lot of games. Joe, I'm giving him the most straight-faced poker face you will ever get. Okay, I mean, geez, So I said, Joe, I have a real weird feeling. Just I don't know why I have great sources. You got to go to Hollywood. You got to go to Hollywood and do it the right way, right? So I have a feeling that my sources tell me that the Atlanta Falcons are going to go out there and draft Elvis Grbac, former Michigan quarterback. So now a veteran columnist like him, now he's digging into me. Boy, he's falling into my trap good. Joe, if I tell you this, you can't let nobody else know. You really can't. This is just a friendship thing between me and Scotty, I promise I won't do that. Well, here's the deal. Jerry Glanville could not leave any tickets for Elvis Presley in Memphis when they went out there and played a preseason game. He left them at will call. So here's what's going to happen. He's going to draft Elvis Grbac, and he's going to have an Elvis in the building, and it won't be Presley. Joe looked at me like, what? That was great and classic. You really had me going. Come on, Joe. I mean, we're in the when we're in the media, we're creative. Anything that you write that you can hear, you got to come up. And he said, he gave me a hug, pat me on the back. He was the guy that I always went out there and turned to for a father. He was like a father figure and a mentor to me in the business. He loved it. I mean, he just, and then when I had a situation where I was going through my first divorce, I've only been married twice. First one, I'm at Comerica Park. He says, "Some doesn't feel right." But yeah, I'm going through a tough time personally. What's wrong? Going through a divorce. Scotty, now I'm a father here too. Okay. Don't worry about it. I was married the first time. It didn't work out. Second time it worked out really good. You're going to be fine. I know the kind of a person that you are. As long as you learn from your first mistake, okay, then what'll end up happening is you'll go out there and learn again. And I've been happily met with this one girl, Candy, for a while. I mean,
I'm so unhappily.
She puts up with me, man.
You didn't want to say.
She puts up with me. That woman deserves a gold medal 9 million times heavier than the normal one would run. But, I love Pittsburgh. I really do. They're Midwestern people like we are to a certain extent. They're only 4 hours away from Metro Detroit. Three Rivers Stadium. Now, I know they built a couple of stadiums and demolished that place. But I deal with a lot of Pittsburgh people. But it was great to see the Steelers win. And I'll tell you why it was great to see the Steelers win. Because of the tradition that they have there. They had an African-American coach that won. So certainly the more opportunities that African-Americans get, the better opportunity they'll get jobs. Because they're not stupid people. And that's one of the best franchises on the planet because they don't change coaches every 2 seconds. So who would not want to go to a Super Bowl and watch the Pittsburgh Steelers win? You're part of history when that franchise wins, right? Now, if you're in Cleveland,
I'm a Browns fan, so I don't really want to watch that.
Then it's a different story. But right. But to me, there's perception and there's reality. And I have the utmost respect for Cleveland fans too. I'll tell you a couple of stories about it. Number one, I went to a game at the old Municipal Stadium. I was just sitting in the stands one day, and I saw Dave Steve nearly throw a perfect game. But it's
through Blue Jays. I remember that game. I do.
Yeah, I was there.
Yep.
So you know what stopped that from happening? A rock at second base where the ball took a hop and went right into right field, and that was the end of his perfect game. I was there. I bought tickets to go. I was just hanging around. I had nothing to do that weekend. I was at that game. But when I've covered Browns games, those people were great. And I also saw the Pistons play the Cavaliers at the old Richfield Coliseum. And I used to go ahead and hang out at Whitey's right nearby. And I ended up eating dinner with two of the Pistons assistant coaches, Brendan Sir and Brendan Malone.
Malone, yeah.
So the story I have here is Brendan Malone sees me parking in the parking lot, and they see me pulling into a corner spot. And Brendan says to me, Scotty, when you pulled in this parking lot, you eyeballed that spot and we're going to get in there. So I told him, here's the deal, Brendan. Okay, Coach Malone, whatever. He always called me Brendan because I had to kind of work a relationship with the guy. So I went there because here's a little lesson about parking your cars. And now Malone and Sir are both listening to me. If you park on the corner, that means one side can't get hit and the other one will. And I guarantee you they never went ahead and parked anywhere they could in between before getting thrown one time. So, it's when you're in the media, it's about building relationships. But I enjoy. I mean, it's too bad that stadium, but it was so far out in the suburbs that it was obviously very difficult to be able to sustain the attendance, because as I remember,
it never built up out there too. It never ever got, I'm saying that the restaurants and hotels and stuff that were promised and stuff, it's just never built out of. That's why they brought it back downtown.
Well, that's okay. Doesn't matter. I got to see a game there. I haven't been to the new stadiums there. I went to Municipal Stadium and I went to that one. That's okay. I still have a good history in both those towns. That's why I feel so comfortable with you guys on this show for crying out loud.
We try to be normal Midwesterners. We think we're pretty normal. Sometimes
we do. Now, if you want to go down, you know what I call New Yorkers down here in South Florida? Call them from Manhattan, M-A-D-H-A-T. Especially the way they drive, they're awful. I tell you one thing. But you know how I get along with them. If they yell at me, I yell at them twice as hard, and they'll take the verbal abuse. I'll be able to go out there and delve out to them. You think you're going to yell at me? Who the heck do you think you are? So I go out there and yell a lot harder. They don't like that. So too bad. Get the heck out of my way. You guys need a injection of laughing gas, because God only knows where the hell your laughs are coming from, but not where they're supposed to.
When in general, the laughing is coming from Mr. Earnhardt himself too. I didn't know he was going to end up being here, but I mean, the driving just makes sense with what you ended up saying earlier on too. That's it. I'm the interstate intimidator. Don't you ever forget that, Peyton. You don't ever want to get. If I get in a competitive mode on the freeway, and my wife knows I need my tablet watching you drive. She's learned to pick up some aggressive habits, but not like I am. And she got a taste of that today. That we are different. Yeah, I mean, if these people try to cut, you're a little. I said, don't be afraid to use the horn. I just go out there and put my foot on the gas, and we'll see who the hell's going to win it. It's because of competition for me on the road. If I don't race somebody on the road, But I mean, hey, listen. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are hiring what I believe Arthur Smith.
Yep.
Arthur Smith.
Now I'll tell you what, that's a good move. I mean, obviously, not every defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator become great head coaches. Maybe he'll get another job. But, he's going to a spot where they need him. And Mike Tomlin needs to infuse a little bit of, he was a heck of a coordinator. I believe he's with the Titans, if I remember correctly. Right?
Yes.
Before he took the Atlanta job. I think it's a pretty good move for him. I really do. I'm glad that Ken Dorsey's getting a second.
I was going to ask you about Dorsey. I'm glad you jumped into that. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. Oh, no, I got news for you.
You're circling. I love it.
Oh, yeah, I know what I'm dealing with here. I'm dealing with Browns, we're dealing with Steelers, and I'm whatever you want to call me.
Okay.
I told you, didn't I tell you, Pete, we're going to have a good time on the air?
Yes, you did. You're not lying.
Do you read my
pointed yet?
I know you read those texts. You got to, anytime you want me to come on here, remember one thing, though. I learned a lot of lessons from the microphone, my book that I wrote.
Yeah, talk to us about that book, because I got it down in the banner down there, right there, author of the book Lessons from the
I'll do that.
Microphone.
Let me just give you the answer about Dorsey. Number one, okay, I'm glad he gets a second chance. Cleveland's a good place to go. And again, the Cleveland quarterback situation is better than most people think. You ride Joe Flacco into the playoffs, which nobody thought would ever happen. Kevin Stefanski has one of his best coaching jobs ever, because he didn't have Deshaun Watson there. And you had Joe Flacco, you rode him into the playoffs. So his coaching job was 100 times better. we'll see what Ken Dorsey can bring. Time will tell. But regardless, you had the best defensive coordinator on the planet with Jim Schwartz. Well, I still think by now should have gotten a second head coaching job, but he hasn't. But I do believe at some point somebody will get smart and will bring him on. So I like the hire in Cleveland, giving Dorsey another shot. And Buffalo ended up staying with Joe Brady, which was fine because it worked out for them. And of course, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Arthur Smith on in Pittsburgh. So these coordinators' jobs, you're finding out during the cycle, though, that everybody right now values a good offensive and defensive coordinator more so now than they ever did, because the game has changed significantly. It really has. I mean, number one, obviously, the attention to the passing game. You need a good defensive coordinator who's seen everything on the planet to begin with, right? To offset that. And offensively, you got everybody running around like a bunch of gazelles going out there and passing the football. So it depends on what you can do. So I just want to make sure that we cover those things before we get to my book. Any questions or comments about what I've mentioned so far?
Yeah. Hey, Scott.
What's that?
Every time I feel like I've watched the Lions, I feel like Aaron Glenn. He catches a lot of flack. How you feeling about Aaron Glenn?
Aaron Glenn right now is a head coach ready to happen. When Ben Johnson made the decision, he didn't want those jobs, either the Seattle or the Washington. They're still looking to interview Aaron Glenn. I can tell you right now, Aaron Glenn will be a head coach in the NFL, if not this year, within the next 2 years. I do believe that. So, the defense has come a long way. They're drafting good on the defensive side of the ball. And look where they are. They were about 30 minutes away from making it to the Super Bowl. So, they'll be fine. They've come a long way in a short period of time. Just you guys just watch the next year or two, okay? Aaron Glenn will be calling the sidelines. You have a lot of good coaches. This year has been a good cycle for African-American coaches right now. Raheem Morris was brought in there, and who are the other two? I know
the guy in Vegas took the full-time.
Yeah, Antonio Pierce got that full-time job.
I think Wilkes got some interviews as well, too.
What's that?
I think Wilkes got a couple interviews as well, too.
Yeah.
In San Fran. Yeah.
Well, it's hard to get her interviews when you make it to the final, but I think Wilkes is inevitable. I'm disappointed Eric Bieniemy hasn't gotten.
He did a good job with Carolina job.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. All right, you want to hear about my book, or do you have a question?
Yeah, go ahead. Just plug your book. You brought it out. Talk about it.
Lessons from the microphone, folks. 44 years in this business. Okay, I don't know where my name's. There we go.
There you go.
Okay, I'm trying to be left-handed here to put this thing up there. Been in the business 44 years, guys. Okay, there aren't too many things I have in there that I'm going to write a second part to the whole thing too, because I had to leave a bunch of stories out of it. Is what I ended up doing. But when you put together a book, you have to make sure the pieces of the puzzle fit. Now I have a picture of Muhammad Ali in it with myself and Chuck Wepner, the real Rocky. I'm not a.
That was in Cleveland when they fought.
That was in Richfield. Yeah,
that was in
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I ended up I had the good fortune of interviewing Chuck Wepner down here in Fort Lauderdale, and it was great. I took some pictures with him. You'll see those in there if you go get it. And for guys like you that are relatively new in the business, I imagine this is something that it would be a good pickup for you guys. It's available on Amazon and Kindle. And my goal is to get pointers. Not that I pretend to know it all. I never will, because every time I think I know something else comes along. We just keep adding it to the repertoire and all that. But, it's something good for anybody that wants to understand the media as well as get into it and all the different things that you run across. So some sports guys became news guys because they felt the opportunities in sports were drying up. Have you guys ever heard of a guy by the name of Frank Reynolds?
Sounds familiar.
Sounds familiar. Why do I know that?
It's the Danny DeVito character's name, and It's Always Sunny.
Oh, well,
That's the reason I know that.
Well, who's Frank Reynolds? Tell us about Frank Reynolds.
Okay, Frank Reynolds. I know that. I know back in 1981 during the Reagan assassination attempt was the lead man in ABC's cover.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's why you've heard of him.
That's why I've heard of him.
But anyways, he went out there and blew a gasket on the air. I mean, if you go out there, go to YouTube and Google Frank Reynolds, you'll hear what I'm talking about. I mentioned him as one of the guys that I respect so much. In fact, when I went to Arlington Cemetery, I visited his grave. He says, I'm just paraphrasing the quote right now. Let's not get it first. Let's get it right. And if you're a journalist, that's what your mindset should be. Don't get it first, get it right. And he really blew a gasket to let his people know about the whole thing is what he did. And, there's a lot of different stories about people I've met and I haven't met that when you put all that information together and you put it in your mind, there's no doubt that you're going to become a much smarter journalist, okay, because you've taken a lot of principles and you've shadowed other people, you know what I'm saying? And the more you shadow people, the better you guys get. And you guys, to me, I'm having so much fun on here, and I knew I would. But you guys pay attention and you listen and you're excited and you have energy. God, there's no way you can have a podcast at all without doing the things that I talked about that we're doing here. You know, none of you guys have seen me in person, and you're letting me go off like motor mouth here, but you got it right out loud.
Well, I got a question for you, Scott. So you talked about now your 44 years of interviewing people. Has there ever been somebody who, I guess I'll phrase it like this. Of all the people that you've interviewed, you've had a perception of somebody, and then when you actually interviewed them, you're like, wow, so different than what I thought. Is there somebody that comes to mind, like, you know, you had this preconceived notion of them, and then when you interviewed them, like, wow, this cat's a lot different than I thought. He's, you know, or somebody maybe that was the same or something. But is there an instance of that?
Well, I mean, you know, when you interview as many people as I have.
Well, that's what I'm asking. I'm asking the expert right now.
Here's one thing I did do that was a bold move, though, that most people wouldn't have done. But I, being a young journalist who never really gave a damn except doing a job, doing paid to get through college, I ran across a situation with Rich Goose Gossage. And I was warned, okay, by a friend of mine in the Miami area. He doesn't talk to a lot of people. So I went in there to take a gamble anyways to try to do it. And Goose was giving me these 1, 2, 3 word answers. I said, listen, Goose, turn the tape recorder off. I said, here's what we're going to do. Okay, number one, okay, if you don't go ahead and give me a little more than what you're giving me, which isn't a whole lot, I'll go out there and I'll put words in your mouth is what I'll do to make this thing a lot better so I can at least be able to tell them. I said, I don't want to do it, okay? And please don't, but I'm telling you, you know, I get paid to do my job and you're preventing me from doing it. And then when he understood that I was in a very sincere mode, we did the interview over and it was much better. And I promise I won't do anything to say anything that'll sensationalize anything and break your trust. But thanks for allowing me to do my job, is what I told him. He shook hands. I understand. Thank you very much. So you have a lot of athletes. So I had to take an approach. And I normally don't do that, but there was a situation where I was in a high-profile situation, trying to get this guy and just trying to do what I have to do. Now, was I upset that Kirk Gibson hit the game-winning home run off him against San Diego? No, that came after, before I did my job, so I really don't particularly care any more than people would say, hey, I hate O.J. Simpson, okay, because he did this and that. But then I interviewed him in the early 80s when Howard Cosell turned me down for an interview. Hell with that two-page screwball anyways. OJ was a lot better, and I had a great time. And he said, you did a really good job. I only asked the same question 5 times, and OJ Simpson gave me 5 different answers, so it was good. So I knew that I had a guy out there that was kind of, he did a good job. Really nice of you. Thanks, OJ. I appreciate the confidence and that. It's nice to hear it from you. So, you know, these are the kind of things that when you come across the individual in the field, you have to pay attention and listen a lot about what's around you, and then you have to go out there and make instantaneous decisions is what you really have to go out and do. Some calls are a little bit more difficult than others, but it doesn't matter. You know, nobody can be an armchair quarterback in our business. I'm glad I'm at the tail end of the business, being in it 44 years, because the PR and the communications people have changed so significantly that I'm glad I had to deal with the old guys that I could get along with, that trusted me, that knew what I can do, instead of all these new age communication people that don't know how to return an email, that don't know how to go out there and return a phone call or text message. And those are the challenges that are existent now. And, you know, there's so many different ways with social media. It's like, you know, so now my goal in 2024 is look for hidden gems and be a real hard-nosed content creator to be different. And the key that everybody has to do in our industry, if you're going to have any sustainability, be different, but be true to who you are.
Well, we have to be true to who we are. Scott, I have to ask you this.
Sure.
Did OJ do it?
OJ did it? Well, I'll tell you what. I knew you were going to ask me that question. Here's my straight answer. He was given a non-guilty verdict, and right now, until somebody tells me that he's guilty, I don't care about the civil court because that was a money grab anyways. You know, I'm going to say no because he was convicted of no wrongdoing. Okay, but in Las Vegas, okay, wherever he was shortchanged in L.A.
Yeah, they gave him the
Australia incident. They
Yeah.
think he did it, and he served some time anyways. And the Goldmans were probably thrilled that he got nailed there anyway. So,
Well, I just always thought, here's the thing. He always said he was going to be looking for the real killers. It's hard to find the real killers unless they were uppity up because he's always on a golf course. So unless you think the real killers are on a golf course, OJ, you're probably not going to find them. That's my take.
remember one thing, Ed. Okay,
Yeah.
you know what he has in common with all of us?
He puts his pants on the one leg at a time.
No,
His gloves don't fit.
Take it. What'd you say, CJ?
His gloves don't fit because I got that issue too.
No, that's not the answer. What about you, Peyton?
I mean, I'm blanking. I mean, I could end up going multiple routes. My head's spinning anywhere. I mean, I don't think he did it. That's about all I can say.
I knew you guys were going to get this answer. He's an entertainer.
Oh, well, hey, there you go.
That's why I mentioned it. He's an entertainer.
Yeah. Well.
Scott, who's been like your favorite interviewer? Somebody that like you come back to, who's like a guy you got stories about? Like you, all right, keep coming back to this guy.
But this is my favorite guy. This is my guy.
This is one of my favorite guys. Like,
well, I'm always going to be
partial.
partial. I'll always be partial toward Tom Lasorda because he was the first major interview I ever had. Nice. But I love Muhammad Ali and a lot of the bigger names. But Tommy Lasorda was number one because the first guy I had. And then I love Muhammad Ali because, you know, if anybody buys my book, they're going to see a picture there with him with a fist by my jaw being a 19-year-old pup.
Oh,
and
that's pretty cool.
And even though he had Parkinson's disease, I'm always a firm believer that if somebody's got Parkinson's syndrome or any of that stuff, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, it's good. Even if you don't have that many words left in his repertoire. So you can't, the picture don't lie, you know, when he talks about the story. It was a hard interview because you couldn't understand him because he took a beating and it led to the ultimate head injuries. Right. I mean, favorite, I'll right now say Tom Lasorda because I had multiple interviews with him. And he was always positive, taught me a lot, and gave me confidence. And then I'll go ahead with Muhammad Ali because I spent a week with him. But, you know, I'll tell you what, those individuals want to get my book. I have a lot of great interviews listed, about top 100 of them, and there'll be an awful lot of good ones that people can choose and all that. So I had the opportunity recently. I made good friends with Don Mattingly when he was at the Marlins, and we're in touch every once in a while. I love Don Mattingly. He's one of the nicest people I've ever dealt with. So there's an awful lot in there. There just is. And I'm obviously promoting the book, lessons on the microphone. To me, I wrote it in 5 months. Well, actually 4, but I had to take a month off because of health. And the guy that was originally going to do it decided not to. So I had to hire a book coach to get me down to the end of the line to do the editing, the miscellaneous. So I still got 44 years done within a matter of 4 months of actual work on it to turn it into a 206-page book is what it is.
Wow.
Well, I was mowing. You think I'm crazy on the interstate everywhere else. Wait till I'm probably, many years ago, and I know you guys are enjoying this. I won a trophy in bowling, not because I was talented, but most unusual form.
Hey,
well, how do you call?
Most unusual
I'm a bowler
form.
too. And I mean, the unusual form.
Man, I gotta hear how he throws. How do you
How would you
go up there?
Are you a two-handed bowler?
Oh, I go right up there and then whip the damn thing across there and boom. Now, here's a good sports story that you guys should be able to relate to with it. Dennis Rodman and I were good friends during the Bad Boys era because I covered them. So I bump into Dennis Rodman, at the bowling alley in West Bloomfield, And he sees my form because I always said, man, what kind of a form you got there? It's as good as your free throw shooting. It probably isn't any good anyways. So he looks at me. We were friends, though. Yeah, he knew it was a lighthearted joke. So I'll tell you what, Dennis, let's make a bet here, okay? Why don't we go ahead and play 2 games, and I have no problem paying the bill for both of us if I end up losing. He was willing to do it. So, he beat me pretty good first game. No problem. Of course, I was true to my most unusual form. Okay. So I said, next game, winner take all. Okay. Guy gets a ton of splits, and I had a heck of a game, and he had to pay for the bill. And then we laughed so hard all the time, and we were good friends. You always have certain guys you lean on. Now, I'll tell you another part of Dennis Rodman, which few people don't understand, and that's this, okay? I'm over at the Boston Garden. Bill Lambier and I didn't like each other. We didn't. I mean, Bill, every time he wanted to get in the way and be a jerk, that's probably why he never got a head coaching job, because he angered so many people and burned a lot of bridges. So I'm over at the Boston Garden. At this point, I torn the my ankle ligaments is what I did, because I took over a Magic Mountain on Christmas Day, the same day Billy Martin died in an auto accident. That's all I can figure out, how I broke this thing and messed it up. If the doctors at the hospitals want to know when did you do, well, let me go to Google. I'll tell them December 25th, 1989. So I'm over at the Boston Garden, okay, and Bill Lambier's comments attitude. So you know what I did? Because Dennis and I were right next to each other in the Boston Garden. Hey, Bill, just because you got enough money to pay your damn car payment doesn't mean I got enough to pay mine. That's why I'm out here interviewing here in these locker rooms. So Dennis Rodman goes up and said, Bill, get the hell out of here and let the guy do a job. And you know what, Dennis, give me a big okay, whenever you're ready to start. Boom, just like that. Good stuff, man. You know, so, and that's when we knew that the one thing I'm telling you guys as young reporters and writers and media guys, it's about building relationships with the players is what you always try to do. Because if you do that and you're very sincere to who you are, they're going to cooperate. They will. If you come across as some of these sarcastic writers out there, they're looking for the negative to grow. You know what? You don't last that long in this business if you come antagonistic against certain people. You got to be fair both ways. You know, you take the good and the bad. And I think nowadays everybody's too busy with the editor. I want you to sensationalize, dig as hard as you can. Well, you do the best you can, but not to a point where you're antagonistic and you're alienating people. Those are two rules that you just don't want to do. And that's what I've learned over the years. And I'll draw it back to the book about a lot of different things. But here's another interesting story here about sometimes luck and fate has to be on your side. Back in 1987, okay, I decided to buy a ticket for myself over to the Lions and the Minnesota Twins in the American League Championship Series. Well, I'm out there with some money in my pocket, and one guy took my money and never gave me a ticket. Great. I get burned out here out in the streets. So I ended up, luckily, I knew some people that were going, you know, people I had worked with. I call them like my Uncle Gene, okay? And Diane is his wife, just two of the nice people I'll ever meet. Uncle Gene, I got a little bit of a problem. I tried to buy tickets, somebody took my money. Oh, I pulls out like $40 or whatever the heck it is. There you go. The 40. I don't remember the amount, but and that's a story in the book, by the way. So I go up to another guy, bought a ticket. You know, you never know where it's at. You know who I sat next to the entire game? Minnesota Twins owner Calvin Griffith, and I were talking baseball the whole damn time. And you know what? We had such a good time when the Twins beat the Tigers.
The Twins won that series, obviously.
No, actually, Minnesota won that series.
Yeah.
And they went to the World Series, beat the Cardinals.
Yep.
So I'm sitting next to the Twins owner. I remember the whole conversation that we had word for word, because I don't know, back then my memory is a lot better. It's not bad now, but it's way better back then. So I wrote a story. My editor sent it to Minnesota, and Mr. Griffiths thanked me very much for doing that. And so anytime you're in here, look me up. I'll be more than happy to spend time with you.
How good of a seat did you get to be next to the Twins owner?
You know what? It was a seat probably, I think, by the first base side, like 15, 20 row.
Okay.
Remember one thing, when you got these scalpers, they don't know where the heck these stupid seats are. They're just getting rid of a damn ticket. And I just had to make it lucky in that particular situation. And it became a story that you never know where the story is going to be, but you don't have a tape recorder, but you have a mind for what people are saying, and you're trying to use positive, good intentions. You think I memorized? No, but I made sure it was paraphrased in a way that was as close to what he was saying, and he didn't refute it at all. He never said, no, I didn't say, no. He read the article, and it was fair. So it kind of worked out really well.
And Scott, I mean, I know you know this ahead of time, but just to teach all future writers and anything else whatsoever, I mean, the definition of media when you end up interviewing a player, I mean, the art of the make good, I guess, is a great thing to end up bringing up just for anybody that's looking to be an aspiring media personality, whether or not that's writing, on air, whatever it may be. Could you end up giving more stories, or at least explaining a little bit more in depth, more so than I can, just with all your experience on the fact of the make good and what that really is? Just because sometimes in the moment you might say something that you don't really mean and you misword it, and usually you have that ability to go back, but in the moment a lot of people think that that's it. There's no way you could end up fixing that content, that phrasing, that wording. Could you end up explaining that a little bit more for anybody that's an aspiring media personality?
Yeah, I sure can. The one thing I always tell people, whether you're going on the air first or not, you need to be a good writer to understand the language first. Some of your best people that are doing on-air jobs became sports writers first. And then once you get a grasp on the English language, okay, then you are able to think before you ask a question, especially if you have a one-on-one interview, or you come pre-prepared, you write your questions down if you have to do that. So, for example, I had an opportunity to talk to Larry Bird many years ago when he was coach of the Indiana Pacers, and I waited for the beat writers to do what they were going to do. I didn't have camera phones back then to take all these pictures. Didn't matter, but I got the stories, which are 10 times better than what those photos turned out. So what I did, wait for everybody to take their time, say what they're going to say, and then when it was done, say, Coach Bird, can I ask you a question not related to the basketball game? Because everybody's going, I didn't even record the answer. I was just curious to get some advice. I know you weren't one of the better athletes out there, okay? And I was very, very polite about it. But what made you better than a lot of the players that were out there? I looked at the question. Fair. Scott, you know what I did? I outthought everybody on the air, and if you can outthink them, then you're going to beat them because it's all up in your head. But yeah, I asked a way of I know you weren't the best athlete, but remember the transitional word that I'm using, the but word, right? You were better, and I said, thanks, Coach Bird. I appreciate it. Shook my hand, gave me a good to go. Remember, the one thing you guys have to understand when you're in this business is get familiar with your transitional phrases like but and all those types of words if you need to put them into play. Because if you put them into play, then you avoid a misunderstanding. Am I going to sit here and tell you I didn't take chances when I approached Tony Mandarich to try to get a little bit more information on the steroids? Didn't like it. I had to find another interview. Yeah, but I'm not afraid to take chances. I interviewed George Steinbrenner many years ago, too. But what I did, because I knew a little bit about the guy, is ask your easygoing farm question and all that stuff first and hit him with the manager's question. Boom, he didn't want to talk to me no more. Son, we've done enough. And then what he did, when Ted Koppel did the same thing on ABC Nightline, treated him the same way as me. So if you're big or small, he ain't talking about the manager. He's only going to brag about his titles in World Series. You don't want to hear about the manager question.
Nah, don't talk about.
But I never took it personal because I knew what he was all about anyway. So those are the kinds of things that if you're trying to prepare young journalism, try to be a writer first. Get a handle on the language. That doesn't mean if a good opportunity comes along on the air that you're not going to take it. Because if you're raw and you go on the air first and you write later on, right? Okay, then fine. Just be conscious about how you're going to ask the question in the most non-demeaning way, but objective way you can. Because many years ago, Marshall McLuhan, it's the first lesson you learn in journalism. The medium is the message. Remember that. If you always remember that the medium is the message, okay, then don't lose sight of where you come from and know that you don't want to abuse it. There's so many people in this day and age that do abuse it, which will bite them. And they will. I'm not telling you that I haven't done a thing or two back then, young, because I was taking chances. But does that mean that everything I did, I put it on the air, rethought it, and left it out? You evaluate it later, you do it then, and hope that you're polite, you don't get cut off too premature. Now, what I did with Goose Gossage was a situation, I didn't like doing it, but I was up front. We aren't getting anywhere with 1 or 2 or 3 word answers. I said, I'd rather have nothing instead of what you're giving me because it ain't going to matter anyways. I could have it done in 5 minutes, but at least I was up front. Let's redo it again or we ain't going to do it at all. But then he understood, and think of how many young guys. Now, I used to like Billy Martin back in the day. He was always nice to a young guy like me, but I was always trying to be you got to respect the person you're talking to, because as long as you're respecting the person that you're talking to, then they're always going to be able to give you their utmost attention span. And I know CJ in Cleveland is probably looking at SouthFloridaTribune.com, wondering what kind of stuff I put on there, right, CJ?
Yeah, CJ.
No, I'm trying to order the book on Amazon.
Oh, good man.
I can't remember my Amazon password ever, though.
Hey, CJ, I love you, brother. You don't have to worry about that. But when I do get up there.
No, you're good. I got my headphone in.
Huh?
No, I'm going to get it. I got
kidding.
my headphone. I'm listening.
Hey, I told you I'm kidding with you guys, man.
No, you're good.
Hey, CJ, when I get up, you scared him.
Huh?
You caught him off guard and you scared him.
Oh, did I do that? I'm sorry, CJ. Oh, well. Hey, listen, CJ, you're the best. When I get up there, man. Hey, listen, let me just tell you this. Each and every one of you, CJ as well, Ed, Motor City Man Month, I know I'm invited to my show because somebody got to put the stupid thing together anyway. And Peyton, I mean, you guys get open invites to my shows. I got all kinds of different shows anyways. You like to talk football? one of these days I'll bring on Inside the Pigskin, because I ever heard of Malfard Jr.?
No.
Yeah, he used to be a running back in the NFL.
Yeah, I've heard that name before, but yeah, I have.
Yeah, he's
Not
on
heard
there.
that name before, Ed.
I have. I'm not, but I've heard that before.
I'm not gonna
Well,
lie, but I've heard.
Well, I'll
I'm
tell you
not
what.
gonna lie. I mean,
He's on my Tuesday night show, just so you know, at 8:30 Eastern time. So I'll put you on there with him. You can rub elbows with the guy.
nice.
Like,
Yeah,
Sound
CJ,
effects.
rubbing elbows.
I'm telling you, rubbing elbows, shoot, talk to professionals. Coach Bond will be on there once in a while. I'll have a rotation on there with you to hang out with the people that are in the business, instead of the people like me that went out there and, not afraid to lay it on when I have to, right? I mean, I mean, my goal is to get the best type of guests that I probably can, and as long as those individuals out there can handle what I'm going to throw. I mean, I prep everybody what they're going to come on. They know what they're going to talk about. These guys, are individuals to me that I respect in their industry. And CJ, I'm telling you, Ed, Peyton,
I'm down.
Yeah, no.
We had Mr. Spectacular on. Shout out to Jesse Goddard's and one of our biggest guests on. And I was nervous before the interview and everything. But you know what I thought, and I find this to be true about people. No matter how big they are, they're just normal people. So if you just give them a normal response, an everyday life kind of, I like to make comments before, like when I was going to the Clippers games and interviewing baseball players, and I'd just be like, hey, it's what do you think about food, the weather, just kind of common talk, and like you're not afraid to come up to them. It's so nice how they will embrace that. They'll feel comfortable, and then they'll open up after that, and then it's just like a normal interview. And yes, this is a mega superstar you're talking to, but at the same time, if they feel like you're on their level or just on a normal level, that's when the floodgates open and you can have the best kind of conversations.
Well, then, you know what? You gave a lot of great advice to a lot of people out there, is what you just did by yourself. Okay. Whether you're an entertainer or not an entertainer, or whatever you are, just be nice and polite to these people. They'll come down. If they feel like you're in awe of them, they're going to say, yeah, you're just a fan out there. Just
exactly.
You don't want to do that. And so you answered a question that even Peyton, obviously, but what I do is sometimes what I'll do is I'll make sure I Google enough statistics on them. Nobody's going to break your damn record anyways, pal. So what the hell is the difference? Do that. Or maybe not quite in those words, but you always want to make sure that you're in a situation where, you're prepared. If anybody sees you're not prepared, they're going to fluff you out of here.
Next guy. Yep. Next.
Yeah, many years ago, back in 1987, I took a job as the director of public relations for the Gastonia Rangers. And Sammy Sosa, Juan Gonzalez, and like 10, 12 other minor leaguers that made it to the big leagues were there. So it just so happens I was a Yankee out in North Carolina. See, I can talk to you guys because you're up there, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so we're good. Okay. But who knows how many people are watching the show? Nothing against folks in North Carolina, but Yankee Doodle wasn't dandy down there.
Right. They don't like. Right. That is
I'm trying to take money from them to go ahead and buy billboards in NASCAR country. And, that's a tough challenge. So anyways, I happened to go to Sims Park at the time when the Rangers were playing. They had the American Legion ball there. So I don't know, just shooting the breeze. It was the game was so lopsided. I kept throwing stats out there that these announcers from that Kings Mountain radio station were throwing out there. And they said, man, you're pretty good. Yeah, well, nobody likes when I sell advertising, but here, so the guy said, would you like to come on and do more of these games? Yeah, I'd love to be able to come on there and do this. Well, but I'm not doing it the way you guys, all you do is pat Johnny on the back, and that's all you do. And I mean, damn reasons to do it. They look at me. And I'll come up with stats all over the place about this and that. So if you think I'm kissing somebody's, what here just because I think they run their first base quick like a damn gazelle, that ain't the way I do it. So I would go out there before those games and find out what their batting averages were and all that. And all of a sudden, Yankee Doodle was a lot more dandy at that point because I wasn't kissing mama, daddy, grandpa. I mean, I'm trying to be the accent. I don't know how good it is.
Right.
Grandma, okay, and or granny or whatever the hell you call them down there. I even bought a couple books down over at Cracker Barrel, going out there to try to see how you talk that language down there, although I never did a good job anyways. And, I nearly got a full-time job over at a place called Cherryville, North Carolina, but the acquisitions never went through. I ended up going back to Detroit for 11 years before I moved on the road. But they liked me. the reason why they liked me was I wasn't going out there and doing things in a way where they were phony. You know what I mean? Give me some damn meat on the bone. Don't go. Many years ago, when I broiled turkey out in Kansas City with a friend of mine, because we didn't know how to cook a turkey, we'll broil this bird and see what the hell happens, you know? Could have taken taken that buttermilk turkey, butter, whatever the hell you call it, and shot baskets at that stupid thing. That's what we could have done. And the way I look at it, we took the stuffing out because it wasn't any good. We didn't know how to put it in there back then. That was when Bill Belichick was the coach of the Cleveland Browns, and they beat the Lions on Thanksgiving. That's how coincidental this thing was. And I believe Nick Saban was on that staff, and
yes, he was.
Those other guys were. Man, I'll tell you, don't ever ask me to cook a turkey, because that was the last one I ever attempted with a friend of mine to do it. So I guess I know I'm going off a lot of different ways, but where I'm coming across is, as I give you guys stories, you got to be a very good storyteller. One of my mentors is former Detroit Tigers Hall of Fame broadcaster Ernie Harwell.
Ernie Harwell, one of the best ever,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And Ernie, to me, not only did he show me a couple of tricks on the air and all that, you know what I mean, but he taught me a lot about life, is what he taught me a lot about, and how to be a professional. And I think that's the one thing that's so important about being a life and being a professional, you know. And nowadays, you guys have more opportunities for access. You have Google out there. I mean, if you ever want to be a writer, you always have an opportunity in South Florida Tribune to write 4 to 6, 8, 10 paragraphs. I'll get you a ball list so nobody will ever be able to tell you don't have any experience. Bag them. You got it here.
Dang.
Yeah, I will. I mean, I'll tell you, you guys want to write here and express yourself, I'll put you under. We'll go to www.southfloridatribune.com, and then you'll see what my page is about. You guys become writers, and I know what I got. I got 3 young thoroughbreds in the making here if you want to write and say what you got to do. And if you ever come on a broadcast with me, I'll take your writing and stick a video right in there and make them read it, talk to it, whatever you do. That way, it's got that thing many of us remember years ago in school called show and tell, right? Everybody had to go through that show and tell, right?
Yep.
So we'll show you their writing and let them tell you the story, at press conferences and the story. And besides, it saves you 3 or 4 paragraphs about how what he said, he added all that garbage. I hate that stuff. Yeah. That's old AP stuff. This isn't the old school media. And my book is all about old school media and new school media. How you doing, CJ? Did you get it?
I got it.
Yeah. So when is that book going to be delivered there, brother?
Doesn't say yet.
No.
They're not Prime. I need to get Prime.
Oh, so you got he doesn't get the
4 weeks probably knowing you.
Yeah.
When
I need to get Prime.
When I get up there, CJ, I'll be more than happy to endorse it, and I'll take a picture of you with a book in there. If you ever come to South Florida, I'll do the same thing. I'll take you guys out to dinner, and I'll spend time at my brother's restaurant. I don't mess around with you guys.
Got the company card.
Nice.
To some extent, I do have a company card, CJ. So, you ever heard of this?
We got a company card, so we'll take you out.
Was it Uber or a Lyft?
We got a guy in Florida, too. We got a set Casey. Have you ever go to where's Casey World? Disneyland or Disney World?
The one in Florida.
Let me ask you a question. You know what my acronym of GMTA stands for?
What's that?
You guys want to take a chance and try to get it figured out?
No.
I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, well, I mean, he already learned his lesson not trying to do it when I brought the entertainment. So Peyton's
fair enough.
Yeah, he wasn't going to go say, all right, I tried to figure this guy out. And, I mean, you guys all had good answers, but not the one I was looking for. But then again, you've only known me in person like all of 45 minutes, so we're having a ball doing this. I like the 20-minute segment where we can talk all day long. As long as I get on my show by 8:30, I'm okay. But no.
It's free, whatever.
Huh? I'm not worried about it.
Not Ed's got a segment.
We're good.
Well, you know what GMTA stands for? Great minds think alike.
Okay, there you go. All right.
Peyton got smart. He wasn't going to say
I was afraid where it was going, but that
makes sense. Multiple routes, my friend. There could have been multiple routes.
Yeah, I know. That's why I gave you the direct route. You know what STP? You know what STP stands for?
Scott Van Pelt.
No, that's SVP, not STP.
Oh man,
Stone Temple Pilots.
A couple of years ago, he's a nice guy, and he also shares the same name as me, Scott.
Nice.
And I came earlier than he did. You know what STP stands for?
Oh.
And if you when you get the book, you'll see it in there as reinforcement. By the way, all 3 of you, if you get it. STP is the motor oil, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's not where I'm going with it, man. STP stands for. Look at this guy. Look at CJ's right. All right, what is he up to now? No, CJ, we're relating here. No, what is he up to now? I'll tell you what I'm up to now. Okay, slow down, think, and proceed. That's how you make it in this business. And that's what helped me pay through college because I was able to be able to think of every move I wanted to make in terms of what I had to do. Look at this guy, CJ. Now he's getting it figured out there. But no, I mean, there's just a lot of different things that you do. And as journalists, you better know what the 5 W's and 1 H's are. Any of you guys know what those are?
The 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and the why. That's 5.
What,
right?
when, where, and why. Yeah, you know what the last one is? The H.
The how.
There you go. Bingo. This guy's got it all figured out.
There it is.
I wouldn't say that, but I appreciate it, Scott.
No, you didn't. You got him right. So
First time somebody's ever told that.
You know what they call that? They call it a factual error because you got it right.
It's still an error though. That's the only downfall, and that's all good though. We always.
He's a Steelers fan, so you know.
Hey, listen, I got news for you. I was pulling for the Steelers to go 10-7, and with Tomlin not having a losing record. So if I were him, I would go to Mason Rudolph. Where do you want to go for the best steak dinner on the planet? If he doesn't know there, I'll give you a place out in Amarillo, Texas called the Big Texan. That's a heck of a place there.
Yeah.
That can get you 65. They can stuff you for about $9 million. Last time I went there, it was a big place. I enjoyed going to maybe I'll give you a lead for advertising. Go to the Big Texan in Amarillo, Texas. Save them this clip and say, hey, you got to go out there and advertise here. Amarillo called the Big Texan. Okay, but no, CJ, you know, I didn't mention that one in my book yet, so that'll be one for.
There you go. There you go.
You guys are. There'll be a section on there about some of the best podcasts I ever went on, and you guys stay in touch with me. You guys might find yourself in.
Oh, there you go.
Like the sound of that.
Oh yeah. Hey, listen, man. I don't mess around. I'm not one of those types of people that gives you lip service. You know, I really don't. I mean, you know, I tell it the way it is.
You sure do. You sure do. And we appreciate that. Like I said, you know, one thing when we have our guests on, it's like we want them to be free, unabashed, and give it to us like it should be gotten. And you've done that. So thank you, sir.
Well, that's so fun being out with you. Unabashed. Well, let me tell you, if somebody gets on my bad side, they don't get unabashed, they get bashed.
Oh, okay.
See, you know, here's the thing, okay? You know what Scott and Van Pelt and I have in common?
Besides the same name.
Well, you know what we do? We haven't gotten our name is Scott. We haven't gotten the residuals on any of the damn towels because of Scott.
Oh, towels. Scott's towels. So you're talking about the.
We haven't gotten the original. Residual on any of them.
Grandpa Joe's.
I'm serious. Life isn't fair.
You seem like a brawny kind of guy, though. You honestly seem like a brawny kind of guy.
Well, that may be for Ryan Braun, but I'm not brawny. I'm Scott with towels here. We're talking commercial business here. Is what we're talking about. We're not talking about brawny. Now, if Ryan Braun had to use a lot of brawny to fix up his steroid situation, it'd be a different situation. But we're talking about Scott Towels, and you know what? I have a city named after me in Arizona that people don't understand.
Scottsdale.
Well, that one too. They understand that one. But with my personality, I am named Bullhead City. Okay,
there you go.
My bad side is Bullhead City, brother. And I went to the right school, University of South Florida Bulls. See, I got a school named after me. And by the way, the ring to show it.
Ooh,
nice.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I don't get personal too often, but there was a woman over at Chili's restaurant that says, "Why do you wear your collars?" Right? And I told her, because I'm proud of it. I paid my way through. I think it's really weird. So you know what I told this woman? I said, here's what we're going to do. Okay. You're asking me a question about a college ring? I asked the waitress, who was like adorable, absolutely adorable. So what do you think of this person? I don't think she's any good. Okay. So I said, get her a thing, take her meal with you. I said, I can't remember what this woman's name, probably because she didn't last long enough for me to remember. Hey, sweetheart, here, I'm going to make sure that you have your meal tonight because it's wrapped up. And that thing called the door, why don't you leave? Because I'm not interested in you if you're worried about a college ring that I spent so much money. But maybe you'll find yourself a dumb SOB that doesn't wear a college ring that I'm proud of my championship ring. And then I talked to this waitress and tried to hit on her, nearly got her phone number. But we got to know each other really well just back at the time, but she was a sweetheart. But the reality is this. When you go to college or anything like that, what you end up doing, or wherever you go, be proud of what you've done. Don't let anybody bring you down. Don't let any amount of negativity put you in a position where it's going to bring you down at all. It's not really worth it. It really isn't. So, I mean, but, that's just... I give you more than you guys bargained for.
You've been a great guest and everything. And believe me, I love your stories. I can't wait to get your book. I can't wait to get it signed by you someday when we meet up and on your show and everything. But we have probably maybe like 10 minutes left. We got to do some things. You got to pay some bills and everything like that. I want you to plug all your stuff. Tell us where they can find you and everything. Okay. And because, like I said, you've been a great guest, and we hope to have more communication back and forth moving forward here.
Yeah, anytime you want to come on, let me know on my shows, Inside the Pigskin, Sports Exchange, whatever you let me know. You're also welcome. Peyton knows how to get a hold of me, and JB Ellis, you're familiar with him, right? Or at least I know Peyton.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Joe's one of my best friends anyway. So all you guys have an open invitation to come on. But, to get a hold of us, check out our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. Please follow me on Twitter at Tribune South. So that's at Tribune South. And I'll even reshare a lot of the content with you guys if you want me to give you more ammo for your shows, if you want me to do that. And so please subscribe to the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. The South Florida Tribune.
When's your show? When do you do your show?
Oh, I do them every day. Inside the Pigskin, if you subscribe, will be on there tonight. It starts at 8:30 Eastern time. So, and my phone number for you guys is 954-304-4941. So you can reach out to me, text me, let me know that I was on this unbelievable broadcast and talking all kinds of stuff. I probably got off 9 million topics, found a way to circle back to what you wanted anyway.
That's right. We got the answer.
I told Peyton that, hey, listen, when he's calling me brother and I'm getting to know the guy, that I know we're going to have a good time. He kept me as loose as he nobody rattles me. I've been around the best. I've had my jaw whacked 9 million times. Sugar Ray Leonard, Chuck Norton, all of that stuff. So,
Scott, who's your Daytona 500 winner this year? Says Casey. He's got a question for you.
Who's my Daytona 500 winner this year? Oh, it's too bad Tony Stewart's not in it. But you know what? I'm going to go with Bubba Wallace.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, okay.
All right.
I like Bubba Wallace. I like everything he stands for. I think it would be good for a lot of people if he does win it.
Okay. I agree. You can't. You know what? That'd be nice. Shake it up a little bit. That NASCAR circuit.
And if that isn't good enough, Brad, I don't think he retired, did he? Brad Keselowski, he would be another guy to watch out for. And he's from my neck of the woods. Brad Keselowski.
Not sure offhand. I think he's still. I'm doing a little quick Google search really quick because offhand I'm not.
He's a potential guy. I actually covered last year's Daytona 500 Rolex 24.
The one with Travis Pastrana in it.
Yeah, I covered both races. It was unbelievable. I had a good time there. But all my contact information, again, is www.southfloridatribune.com. And once again, I'll put it up on the screen. Please, my book is Lessons from the Microphone that you can get on Amazon and Kindle. They get delivery very, very quickly. And I am a man of my word. When I see you guys, I'll be more than happy to endorse it, take a photo with you with the book in your hand, and then we'll have a lot of fun talking about it. And when I write part 2, okay, I'll go ahead and insert you in some of my best podcasts that I was invited on. And if you want to send this podcast to southfloridatribune@gmail.com, we'll put it on our website as an appearance for me as well.
Wow, absolutely.
Exposure in different ways. So, but again, please subscribe to South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. And again, the book is there, and Twitter and whatever else I mentioned here. It doesn't matter. So I get so caught up in talking to you guys, I forget 90% of all the content because I'm in the zone.
He is in the zone, and you got to catch Scott at South.
7 days a week, you got.
Seven, exactly. Like I said, it never stops, and I love it. And you are the Motor City Madmouth. You came as advertised. And Peyton was not lying. He told me, I got this guy, and you delivered, my guy. You delivered.
I'll tell you what, you guys, there's a 4-letter word named after all of you guys. You know what that is? capital B, capital E, capital S, capital T with an exclamation point.
All right, we'll take
We
that.
love it.
We love it.
Top 5 guests in We Like
So
Sportz.
listen, stay in touch, get into rotation with all my broadcasts on the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. You'll be able to find it through subscribing to South Florida Tribune channel itself. And there's all kinds of opportunities for you with my organization, as you've given me the opportunity to talk about my book, and then some on yours. This show I knew was going to be fun, but boy, I tell you one thing: the fact that you took all those stories, Elvis Gerback one, and all these other stories, you guys made it even more enjoyable. Because what you guys did tonight is you gave me an opportunity to go down memory lane.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you, Scott. We appreciate everything you've talked about, and we will talk to you soon. And like I said, have a good one, my guy, and we'll be in touch.
It was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me, and you know how to get a hold of me. I'm looking forward to beginning of a great relationship, and you guys will see me active on Twitter. So God bless you guys. Have an awesome show, and thanks for letting me be a part of it, okay?
Great having you, Scott.
Thank you again.
Thanks. Bye now.
Bye. Okay. All right. What a great guest. Plenty of stories and everything, but you know what we have to do?
Just leave.
We have to. I know he must have.
We have to read the ads.
We have to pay the bills. You know what that means? That means it's Dubby time.
Dubby.
Yes. If you want an energy drink that you can mix at home that doesn't give you the jitters or make you crash, if so, then try Dubby. These products have no calories, no sugar, no maltodextrin. Like I said, I don't know what that is. They don't have it. No fillers and no artificial flavor. W has great flavors such as Dragonade, Galaxy Grenade, Beach and Peach, and Dub Sludge. So head on over to w.gg and use the coupon code We Like Sportz to get 10% off your order. Also, as your favorite one, CJ, because I know you never let me forget, got to head on over to the Snooze You Lose podcast with Uncle Joe, the Black Bookie. He'll get you set with your Sunday Snooze You Lose pick of the week. So you'll want to do that because you'll add more coin to your man purse.
Your purse. Because if you saw $100 laying on the ground,
that's right.
You pick it up.
Do that.
That's what Uncle Joe the Black Bookie's offering. And who else is offering that, Ed?
Also, my bookie. We got to talk about my bookie because, like I said, you want to definitely hit that up because, like I said, if you, CJ, because I know you don't drop things a lot because you're not Ernest Biner. That's a bad Cleveland Browns show.
Not Jameer Gibbs either.
I apologize about because if you found $100 bill on the ground, you wouldn't walk past it. So don't pass up a chance at easy cash with MyBookie. MyBookie has the biggest online selection of odds and contests to fill up your sports betting needs anytime, anywhere, so you can turn that sports knowledge into cash in your wallet. But on the NFL, college bowl games, or play for a share of big cash prizes in the weekly blackjack tournaments. If you've been waiting for the right time to get in on the action, that time is now. Make your winning move today. Sign up at MyBookie. Use promo code SPORTS, that's sports with a Z, and claim your deposit match redeemable up to $1,000. Again, that's promo code SPORTS with a Z to claim your bonus.
Quarter code, because they sometimes have both.
Experience the thrill of sports betting right from the comfort of your home. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. You'll want to do that. So thank you, CJ, for not I don't know what you do, but you tend to always get me in a mood, CJ. You just have that.
You get him in the mood.
Yeah. Hey now.
We can have W.
But we have to do this. I know we got. I got about maybe about 15 minutes left here, so we got to do this because it's 2024 and
what's in 2024?
2024. There's something big. I think there's elections. There's things like that. But we have
elections.
We have this
in 2024 and beyond. Don't forget to tune in to.
So we're gonna have the great debate. Oh yeah,
the We Like Sportz Show presents to you the Great Debate.
Yes, the Great Debate is back. It is back. Peyton was a nice participant when it came to
Peyton. Yeah, he was a masturbator or debater.
Master debater,
not master.
So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this. I'm going to give you a topic, and you're not going to be able to pick your position, but you have a minute and a half. A minute and a half, CJ. You might be disqualified.
I'm just saying. Sometimes he let us pick last week.
Yeah, I know. I don't exactly play by the rules, but I'm trying to enforce the rules.
It's a new segment, CJ. We go by the seat of our pants, just like how you kind of shit your pants earlier when Scott.
But I'm going to do something different this week. Instead of giving you the position, because this is more of an open-ended question, we'll decide whoever wants to go. Well, I'll decide who goes first. CJ's going to go first. And the question is, Lamar Jackson, who is his NBA equivalent? You have a minute and a half.
Ooh.
I'll give you 20 seconds to think, and then you can go.
No, I got one. I feel like
Okay.
Reminds me of Melo. Like, I think Carmelo Anthony's like an eerily similar one. Kind of electric in the season. And like, I know Melo didn't have like 2 MVPs like Lamar, but like, I don't think anybody thinks Lamar is the best player in football right now. But like, Melo was an electric scorer, and he was just a guy like that. He couldn't get over the hump in the playoffs. And I think that like, they're eerily similar guys. At times they can run the media the wrong way. I think Lamar's been an awesome pro. I love Lamar. I love Melo. Melo had Melo fans. Lamar has Lamar fans, and people will support the guy no matter what. But I think they're eerily similar. I don't know. Lamar might need a Melo move and get out of Baltimore. I think we've reached a point of like, will this ever work out long term? And for them to run the ball 6 times and get away from the game plan, I don't know. But I think, to me, yeah, Melo would be my equivalent to him. He's this guy, and he's kind of going up against these top elite guys like Melo did with LeBron and them. Yeah, but I made it to finals, Casey. Lamar make a Super Bowl?
Thank you for pointing that out. But thanks, Casey, for chiming in.
But if you're part of it, like Melo.
If Casey's chiming in, Casey should be on the show. Just saying.
Yeah, but he's probably got that downtime.
Disney's watching.
Yeah, the mouse is watching.
The mouse is always in the house.
CJ, are you done with your answer? I want to make sure.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I saw the Allen Iverson.
Fair enough.
Well, yeah, I think he Melo.
Okay, Melo. Peyton, a minute and a half. Who was Lamar Jackson's NBA equivalent?
All right, I'm going to do one better than CJ here. I'm going to not go with one specific player in NBA. I'm going to go with the team. I'm going to say the 2015-2016 Golden State Warriors. And it's because they had a 73-9 regular season record. Baltimore Ravens, great in the regular season. In the AFC Championship game, you saw a lot of immaturity. You ended up seeing Zay Flowers, the fumble. You ended up seeing him. He smacked his hand on the bench. But after that, and you saw Isaiah Likely calling for a ball in triple coverage in that AFC Championship game. That matchup alone, you ended up seeing all the flaws and all the mistakes of the Ravens and the immaturity. They might win a Super Bowl. They might win the big game at some point, but they didn't finish it completely. And I mean, not too many teams held the Ravens to under 10 points. I think it was the Chiefs.
They ran the ball 6 times, and the Chiefs have a top 5 defense. I'm just throwing that out there. No, that's bad coaching. Sorry.
Mute them. You know what? One better. I could do it now. Anyways, with Lamar Jackson and the immaturity of just the whole entire team, you saw that happen over time, and they were that close. In the future, you might see them win the big game, but they're not going to get there until they work on this immaturity fact. And with the Golden State Warriors, you saw the Cavs. They took them to 7 games. The Cavs, out of all people, LeBron James, the Cavaliers, you didn't end up expecting them to come back down from 3-1. Granted, the Cavs and Cleveland got their karma with the Indians back in 2016 as well, losing a 3-1 lead as well.
That hurts.
Yeah,
and I hate to say it, though, but it's terrible.
I feel like it's been a minute and a half.
Yeah,
I'm going to say the Warriors, though. 2015.
10 seconds.
No, that's it. 2015, 2016.
Yeah, but I mean, the Warriors team, they're the champions.
Well, here's what I'm going to do.
They had championship DNA. I just think that, I don't know if Melo or if he doesn't have that championship DNA, Lamar.
Well, here's what I'm going to say.
If it didn't happen now, I don't think
you know what? Look, Peyton thought outside the box. I appreciate that. I love that answer. CJ, here's why I got to give it to Peyton. Because you comparing him to Melo. Melo never won MVPs. Lamar Jackson's winning MVPs. Lamar
Jackson never won a championship.
But I know, but when you're comparing equivalents, why not compare him with an MVP that didn't win a title? I just don't
like who? Steve Nash? He's not Steve Nash.
That would have been more. But that would have made more sense. Not
Steve Nash. He's Melo. He's flat.
Steve Nash, the coach of the player.
Melo's an elite scorer, and he's a lead player in the regular season, and in the playoffs, it just never worked. He's got a little James Harden to him.
Well, okay. Well, anyways, here's the thing.
Well, James Harden gets fat, though.
CJ, Peyton gets the point. Sorry.
He just, he just wants to do 3 of these. That's why he's going to do this.
Well, we're only going to probably do 2. But here's a good one because we had on the Motor City Mad Mouth. We're going to go back to Detroit here with this one. And the question is, Detroit's loss is one that will doom Dan Campbell moving forward? Is it a loss that will haunt him the rest of his career and he'll never be able to recover from? You know what? I'm going to give CJ, well, I'm going to have Peyton go first, and he's going to take the position that, yes, it will doom Dan Campbell.
Oh, man. All right.
Wait, you want to trade? You want to trade?
No, there's no trades here.
Let's just trade. You want to trade? You don't want to.
we'll trade.
Right, then you go first, then CJ, since you're trading, since you're taking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how this is not going to doom Dan Campbell. You know, Super Bowl shots at Super Bowls aren't promised. You are up 14. You're up what? 7. What were they up?
17.
17.
24 to
17 points at the half. You're 30 minutes away from going to a Super Bowl. Super Bowls are not promised, right? We have never been to a Super Bowl. It says the Lions.
Hey,
They shot
I
it.
forget that you went to
Takeover.
the Capitol building on January
Oh, my.
6th. I still forget that.
That's
That you were there. What was it like? Yeah, what was it like?
no comment.
Shout out to Sean, by the way, Joe America.
/ Ohio
no,
Man 1776.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Of course, 1776. Don't tread on me. Yeah, no. Super Bowl.
Come on,
You have an
CJ,
extra
way to
30
go. I thought
seconds
you were a
to
man
mention
I
creator.
get it. Trips to the Super Bowls aren't promised. When you look back at the decision, right? We're not scrutinizing any plays. Like he brought up the fumble earlier. Reminder. Right? We don't like it's Dan Campbell's decisions is what we're looking at. Dan Campbell is gonna know, like, fuck, I probably cost a shot at to not only go to Super Bowl, but a shot to win the Super Bowl. So I just think that like this is going to haunt him forever, right? Even if he wins another one, you don't think that Belichick has regrets about decisions that he made when they lost their Super Bowls. So I know any shot you have a chance to win a championship. Championships are not promised. Dan Campbell made bonehead decisions, and granted, they were decisions he rode with all year, but they finally came back. And that when he left, he had that long plane ride in the drive. He's still thinking about should I kick the field goal there? Should I have won for it on this? Like that's in his head.
Yeah,
especially a guy like Dan Campbell. That's a big. Dan. We remember those first few games when he started. He's a crier.
Yeah.
I watched Hard Knocks.
Yeah. Kneecap biter and a crier. I mean, it's yeah. All right, Peyton, your rebuttal on why Detroit's loss is one that will doom Dan Campbell. You say it will not doom Dan Campbell.
So, do you guys remember his first season coaching in 2021 with the Lions?
Yeah, he cried a lot. I just talked about that.
Yeah, but do you remember what the record was? Okay,
No.
I'll answer it. It's 3-13. That was his first year as a head coach with the Lions. Last year, he was 9-8. This year, 12-5. Each and every year, as he's been a head coach with the Lions, for one, the team's drafted great. I mean, Jameson Williams looked good. Gibbs has looked good. Gibbs got more touches throughout the year as the season has gone on.
Looked good.
Laporta looked good.
Great.
Adam Laporta's cousin, Sam
Yeah,
Laporta,
Campbell looked
my
good.
one buddy, he ends up having this phenomenal cousin, apparently. But regardless, not the point. With Dan Campbell, each year he's gotten better, and they're drafting well, and they're young. And yeah, I mean, the trash talking and the grittiness, you saw it with CJ Gardner-Johnson, with Baker Mayfield. That, I mean, you backed it up because you won that game. If you didn't, CJ Gardner-Johnson, you're looking like an ass otherwise, unfortunately, just because that's the intense of that's the heat of the moment. That's you as an athlete. You can't blame him for that. But each time Dan Campbell has gotten better. And within 3 seasons, he was in an NFC championship game against a team that the team in the first week against the Chiefs beat as well. So I'm not saying it's a shoo-in, but history has said that the Chiefs are a beatable team. The Lions, out of all people, beat them to start the season. Dan Campbell, I don't think, is going to sweat about it. The team's just going to keep on drafting well, and you're just going to look on this continuous improvement. If the 49ers in 2020, when they faced the Chiefs, if they would have ended up dwelling on that for the rest of time up until 2024, do you honestly think the 49ers would be back at the Super Bowl right now if they're dwelling on a loss to the Chiefs? No, absolutely not. You can't do that as a head coach or as an athlete. And CJ, you should know that. You're a baseball coach.
Yeah, and
Wow.
listen, as a coach, I went to my first championship 2015. I went to another one 16, but then there was a 7-year window where we didn't get back, and we didn't get back to not a 7-year window. We didn't get back to
Math is not. We're not mathing on this show.
about I think there's probably about a 4-year gap between. But like, you sit there and you take those playoff losses and you're like, am I going to get back to that spot? Trips are not promised. That could be the closest Lions get. I mean, what's the last time the Lions won the NFC title game before this?
1991.
How many coaches have been? Yeah. How many coaches were in between that? Like, they're an 0-16 season.
Yeah.
Trips back are not promised.
Fans though too. I mean, 0-16. You're showing that
with
within
Falcons,
5 to 10 year period.
Falcons were up 28-3. They didn't come back.
Yeah.
Browns had 3 trips in 20 years to the playoffs with one playoff game.
I'm gonna give it to Peyton on this one. I like to
how I think you're
because he articulated with facts.
Super
CJ,
Bowls are not promised. I just did the
They're
same
not.
thing.
They're not.
But it's the debate. It's an opinion. They're not promised.
Right.
Dan
It's
Campbell
an
had a shot.
opinion.
If he kicks that field goal, they probably are going to the Super Bowl. You don't think he's regretting this and this ain't going to haunt him?
And you're not
He just
arguing with
smoked my
me
point.
if I pick you.
I am arguing with you.
CJ,
Yeah.
you're a big baseball guy, right?
His favoritism. Yes.
So
How's that Guardians? The Guardians blew a 3-1 lead. You don't think Tito regrets some of the decisions he made in 2016?
no, but the thing is,
Or do you think he thought it was a given that they were going to get back to the Super Bowl?
Well, they did almost.
Do you
They
think
kept
Kyle
going back.
Shanahan thought that it was a given that he was going to make it back to the Super Bowl? No.
But here's the
You
thing,
got
though.
to change your mind. That's it.
CJ, I'm giving
With
it to you.
analytics, though, Ed, when you were growing up,
No.
what was analytics in baseball?
Analytics are stupid.
You're right, and that's
Even
exactly
in
it, though.
baseball, they're stupid.
But that's
You
the
know what
time,
doesn't
though.
drive in runs? Walks. Walks don't drive and run. I'd rather have a 300 hitter. It gets on base at a 350.
He probably doesn't even know.
Me.
No, he's just
Don't
still
you
dumb.
mute me. Analytics are stupid. I'd rather have a guy that hits 300 and gets on base at a 350 clip than a guy that hits 245 and gets on base at a 350 clip.
But the
I don't
times
care
have
how much
changed,
you want.
though. Analytics in baseball have, and I'm not saying it
How
ruined the
many
game necessarily,
analytics-driven teams are winning World Series?
but I
Teams
mean,
with
the
stars
Lions
and
made it
dudes
to the
that hit
NFC
jacks or what?
Championship game, and you have to take risks. They're going for it on 4th down. If it's worked,
And
all
the
during
Chargers
regular
take
season-
risks. And the Chargers
Wow.
took risks. And they were
Yeah,
a
did you see
super
the
team
head
with
coach they
Brandon
hired last
Staley.
year or 2 years
Yeah.
before? They fired him, but
They're
they
the
took
same.
risks on
They're
him.
the same guy.
Justin
Brandon
Herbert,
Staley
same
did the
thing.
Same bozo shit. Did Brandon Staley not always go for it on 4th down when it said, like, hey, like, go for it? Yeah, and it got him fired.
Wow. That will conclude another rousing edition of the
Yeah.
Great Debate.
I'm not done with this.
You guys want to argue, feel free, but I got to jump off here. And I want to say this. I will be on the squad pod with Yvette, Lysandra, and
Sure.
Lana. I'm going to hop on there real soon.
Go be on with the squad pod. Go ahead. Go be on with the squad pod.
CJ, well, I'm giving us
No,
love. You can
Kick
talk
him out of
shit
here,
about
Ed.
me.
Peyton, kick him out of here. Get him out. You're right.
Until next week, I want to
Sure.
say thank you all. The show continues on. I have to leave. I will miss everybody, but We Like Sportz Show will be on back next week with another rousing edition of the Great Debate.
Hey, I'm
Ed.
heading to Truth Social. This is all fake news. These are fake debates. They're rigged debates. This is all ridiculous. And now I know how Donald Trump feels. Now and Peyton was there on January 6th.
Thank you.
I was going to let you plug him one more time, and then CJ and I are going to dive into some Cavs talk really quick for about 15 minutes. But, Ed, the floor is yours one more time.
Okay, like I said, Squad Pod will be on 8
Going to
o'clock.
the squad pod with Yvette and Lysandra and Rosalina. A little bit of Mamacitas.
Lana.
Lana. A little bit of Mamacitas, some senoritas.
Okay. Well, like I said,
What do they talk about on the squad? On the
we're gonna talk about halftimes, Super Bowl halftime, or big game halftime. Sorry, I can't say that. Big game
I hope
halftime.
Usher sings. You think Usher's gonna take his shirt off?
I hope so. I mean,
I
yeah.
think Taylor Swift, if it would have been the Lions against the Chiefs, I think Taylor Swift and Eminem would have taken over the half.
They bring Taylor Swift down from the Raptors like she's Shawn Michaels, and she just right on the stage.
I'm gonna leave with these parting words. Peyton, good luck. Peace.
I'm in trouble.
Thank you.
I gotta
It'll
take a
blow
deep
the
breath.
internet.
Hold
The
on.
internet will blow up if that happens. If she comes down.
CJ, say one nice
Shawn
thing
Michaels.
about me before I leave.
I like your hat.
Thank you.
I do like that hat.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Ed. We love you.
Love
Take
you.
care.
Thank you.
We didn't even get to
You
throw
know that's bullshit. You know that's it's so terrible.
What? Which part?
There's rigged debates. No, there's rigged debates. It's fake news.
You're so mad. Why are you so mad?
He's mad at the hat. That's what it is.
Yeah, you wore a Bulldogs hat. What do
Just
you
one.
expect?
Just one. I knew he was gonna hate on it.
But anyways, though, I mean, let's just break down the Cavs. I mean, Darius Garland's coming back. Apparently, next game you got Evan Mobley
Wednesday.
back,
Yeah.
and you ended up mentioning last show too, Evan Mobley. I mean, if you ended up checking out our TikTok, make sure to follow us at We Like Sportz Show. But CJ ended up saying too, and I mean, first game back, kind of.
Listen, I stand by it. at his best, he's Jared Allen, right? He will not develop into this elite, like, 3-level scorer. He has no offensive game unless it's around the basket. And I do not think there's anything wrong with that. But he's not going to develop into this 3-point shooter. He's just not. He's a fucking stalwart defensively. They're both amazing on the court defensively together. Offensively, there's a lacking of space, and Mitchell can't really thrive. And, Mitchell's shining with the ball in his hand, and it makes you wonder, all right, well, how's Darius Garland going to fit back in? But Jared Allen, if you watched the game last night again, like, fucking 2017, man, like, and just quiet as can be about it.
You have Jared Allen too, and one of my friends that I went to high school with, Garrett Fortune, he ended up commenting on the piece that you ended up saying about Mobley and Allen, and he ended up saying too, he goes, the difference is that Mobley, I forgot paraphrasing, but Mobley's a little bit more athletic. When it comes to Jared Allen at center, he just gets bullied. And I mean, the only thing that I have a problem with Jared Allen, New York Knicks, Julius Randle.
Evan Mobley's super soft.
Soft.
I think they're both soft.
You need a bigger big man.
It's a problem. But last night on the floor, Jared Allen plus 11, Evan Mobley minus 5. Evan Mobley 10-9, minus 5. Jared Allen plus 11. I would love to see what they are. Okay,
I had to replace that. Give him like 10-15 minutes.
He's on break.
I would love to see what they are like, individually last night without each other on the floor. But I just don't think they work offensively on the floor together.
And that's my biggest concern right now is with Darius Garland coming back. I mean, Sam Merrill, he's looked great without Darius Garland on the floor. Like, he's been huge. And now the thing is you got Darius Garland. Last night, his minutes were cut back a little bit. He didn't really score that often. I think offhand he was 0 for 7.
If you're watching some of the 5s they've put out there, they've had the G-Wagon at the 4 a little bit more. So that allows them to spread the floor. When you have the minivan out there at power forward, like, you're able to do different things. And I don't think that's going to be something you'll see when everybody comes back. And I do think Sam Merrill's going to have to take a back seat. I just think right now it's how do you take the ball out of Donovan Mitchell's hands? If you're watching,
what are your thoughts right now?
So if you look at the lineups like they've ran, right, the last 3 years since we got Jared Allen, you run big the whole time, right? You're running Mobley and Allen, you're running big. That's what it is, and it's the outlier in the NBA. So if you look at what we've been doing now, is you run Allen at the center as the anchor, and then you have shooters all around him. Right, you've got Wade, Okoro's hitting shots now, like you said, Niang's hitting shots. So I think what they need to do is not stray from what's working. Even they're getting Garland back and they're getting Mobley back, but
it's tough to do though.
It is because you have, if you look at it, you put Mobley and Allen rarely on the floor together, but they play 35 minutes a game. So how do you do that? Because once you take out, like, I think you play Mobley, you start them both, right? You take them out in the first 5 minutes. And then you take out Allen, 8 minutes in, and then just try to keep them not on the floor together.
Yeah, but what do you do the last 5?
I know, because you got to sit. You can't sit one of them in the end of the game.
Yeah. Defensively, it works. Offensively, is the problem. There's no space. That's where Mitchell is shining with all this room. I think that's why the assist numbers have gone up.
Yes.
He's got all this room. He's got shooters. It's a lot like the LeBron shit. He's got shooters around him. And unless you're going to force Evan Mobley to kind of adapt to be what Kevin Love was and stand on the 3-point line.
But they said they're not going to.
10 threes all year.
Yep. They said they're not going to do that. They said they want Mobley to be that inside guy and run the 5.
And I think that hurts them long term.
And I think the thing is with the injuries to Garland and Mobley, the biggest benefit that the Cavs ended up seeing, it was from JB Bickerstaff. And it's the fact that, like, the biggest thing that the issue has been is he can't run rotations. It's the same thing every time. He had the same bench crew. Now you're kind of seeing
but I think they
different intermingling of rotation.
Mitchell took over. I think they forced his hand with the injuries, and Mitchell just took over.
So what do you do if you're the Cavs at the end of this year, and would you run it back with the same 4? Like, what do you do? Like, I mean, it depends what happens.
Right now, like, it feels weird, but like, it's like I think it's more of like a short-term thing. Like, what do you do at the deadline is more of a cause for concern. Because it's when's the deadline?
February 8th coming up.
But you don't trade Mitchell. You don't trade Mobley.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you're stuck in a rut to see. Because I don't know how many games they have. I know they got the Pistons coming up.
They have the third easiest schedule I saw to finish.
No. But I'm trying to see the game between now and then.
The deadline.
I just want to look. Go ahead. Yeah,
I
now the
just don't
deadline
know.
we have Detroit, Memphis, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 games, 4 down the deadline. Like, I just don't know what you do because you haven't seen Garland. You're not going to have Garland enough back. And if he comes back and struggles, he'll just blame Russ and same thing if Mobley does. But I don't know. Like, because you're not going to make a move now.
You're thinking like from the outside. I feel if you told somebody that the Cavs are getting back Garland and Mobley going into the All-Star break with how hot they've been, they would say, "Holy hell, they have to just watch out for
and
them."
You feel like, but like if you,
But from the inside perspective of us, like you're more
feel
worried.
like they might play worse. Yeah,
exactly. They're gonna lose.
And I think it's just because we're Cleveland, like we're all supporters
No,
of the Cavaliers, and we've seen it.
The Cleveland thing, I think we saw it how it started this year and how it ended last year.
Yes.
But like those are the memory that are fresh. And I know they were never really healthy to start the year, but like with Jared Allen on the floor, this team is better.
And I've said
early.
before, Jared Allen's not a bum. He is an all-star. If he's in a spot where
he's an all-star, he is going to be an all-star this year. He deserves to be an all-star.
Like that's what shows me is like when Mobley played this year, he was shit. Really, Jared Allen was almost a liability. It felt like playing, but now when he has the time to shine and that center is all his, I mean, like I know he's good. We knew he was young. It's just hard to get them on there.
I just think that everybody still has these like expectations that Mobley's gonna, and I've been pounding this for months. He's not gonna be a shooter ever. It's never gonna happen.
And that's what he needs to do. He needs to take the next step to be the shooter. Because if he could, we'd be fine. Like you said, if he was loved
offensively, this doesn't work.
No, and inside like Jared Allen, it's I don't. But you don't trade Mobley. Like, what do you do?
You have 5 games to pretty much showcase him and have him as a starter if you do go there.
That's why it becomes like, all right, well, who's your fall guy at the end of the season if you get bounced in the first round again in the second round? Like,
well, it depends. It can't be Mitchell. I don't think it can be Mitchell because you saw what he did.
The only way you're moving on from Mitchell is if he doesn't sign long term.
And I think he is more prone now to end up signing long term or getting an extension.
I don't know. I don't know what it's
for the injuries.
I mean, he's gonna get offered an extension no matter what.
Do you think Mitchell could be the best player on a team and win a championship?
I think I'm gonna answer your question with like another like 2-part answer.
I think for it to happen, it's got to be like a Dirk-like run. Like, he's got to go be unstoppable.
And it's the supporting cast around him. Like, those people need to show up. And, like, what you're seeing right now with Darius Garland when he was hurt and Evan Mobley when he was
I don't think Mitchell can win a championship with the third best guy in this team being like a Sam Merrill, a Max Strus, or a George Niang. I will say that.
If you look, though, the third best player, it would be Mobley or Allen.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking like if we moved on from one of them, like, and it was like, you know, let's say like they moved on from like Garland and like some huge blockbuster deal.
Damn,
like it,
tough though,
because I'm looking at the lineup when we were banged up, we've like won on this run. Like the third best guy on the team has been like Strus, Niang, you know, like those guys on a given night. That's not winning a title.
It's. I'm telling you, like it's sad because we have the guys. We like I don't know if I talked about it on here or not, but the problem I think we have is if you look at the NBA. The championship teams, like for the finals for the Cavs, you run 8 deep. That's it, right? So we have so much, which is so great in the playoffs. All right,
yeah, big off the bench is Dean Wade though.
Yeah, but in the playoffs, the problem that you hit is like you have so many of those dudes. Who's the 3 guys coming off the bench? Okoro.
I think your 3 guys coming off the bench are going to be Okoro, Wade,
Wade,
and Niang maybe, or Niang and Merrill.
No run there. Right, but if one of them sucks, right? They have a bad start. You're pulling them right away.
When we did that last year, they were so fucking gassed.
Yeah, so the benefit.
The bigs.
I tweeted somebody about it. I saw a post about it. I said, if you just take like 2 to 3 minutes away from Okoro, from like Mitchell, from Garland, from those dudes that are playing 30 a game, and you just give them the Merrill or Porter a few games here and there, you'll at least have them well rested. And it's not like you're putting in dudes that. You know, like you're putting in guys that could do something. And if they start to suck, just pull them. But you're getting more rest than.
And I think that's the beauty of the NBA right now is like for any given night, someone can go off for 30 that's like random, like, or at least 20. Like Merrill's had big games. Porter's had big games.
Great. Threes.
You know, like I think they're in this weird limbo spot. I think a couple of teams in the NBA are. But the Cavs have fucking been red hot lately, which is what makes it tough.
Dean Wade has the best on-ball defense. This year, him and Okoro both. So and they're hitting 35% from threes and up. That's pretty impressive for guys. It's a 3-and-D guy you want. But if you look, you don't think Okoro and Wade are that great.
Yeah, Okoro, I think he had 17 at the half last night.
He had 17 to finish the game too, I think.
He's shooting over 30.
There were times in the Knicks series last year where it just felt like it was 5-on-4 because they weren't going to guard Isaac Okoro.
Yep.
That's what you need to kind of figure out. I always come back to it, and I know I do with the Guardians all the time, but it's if you are all right, let's move one of the bigs or move Garland and one of the bigs. Who do you go get? I, honest to God, have no idea who fits here.
You trade Garland. Who's a better fit next to Mitchell if you kept Mitchell? Right? Who is a better fit? Who would be better next to him? You see so many situations with the Durant and Beal. You put them with people. Are they a good fit? Kyrie and Durant, right? You have so many pairings like that what you have might be the best situation.
Kyrie and Luka, another example.
Kyrie and Luka is an awkward fit.
Yeah, exactly. So it's tough.
Fox and Halliburton were a weird fit together. It's one of them had to go.
Because we have a solid one-on-one team. If you put those guys up, they're top 50. Where do you think Mitchell's at? Top 10?
Yeah, I'd say top 10 to top 15.
As a top 10 NBA player.
Yes.
The way he's playing. He's fucking playing out of his mind. Yes. I think one of the bigs has to get moved long term. And I think it's going to end up being Jared Allen, unfortunately. And I think it's going to come back and fucking bite us. I said it one of the last times we talked Cavs. It might have been Ed and Keith last week. I don't remember. But I was like, how many teams in the NBA everybody would kill to have Jared Allen on his contract, 20 mil? You don't think Dallas would love to have Jared Allen right now?
He's no problems. He's headache free. Yeah.
He's a fucking monster. He doesn't need the ball. He just goes out. He cleans up the glass. I didn't see how many shots he took last night, but he had 20. I can't tell you. Let me see if I can find it real fast. The box score.
But Jared Allen. And it's not the right route to go, but you're going to end up probably getting a quality player. Not going to say a star, but you're going to get draft picks in return too. But those draft picks might not hit. And you're pairing them up with Mobley at the 5 then. Why are you going to put Mobley at 5?
The NBA is such a crapshoot. I don't give a fuck about NBA draft picks. I agree. Dude had 4 offensive rebounds. He took 9 shots and had 20 points last night. He's 8 of 10 from the line.
He's efficient, man.
17 rebounds, 3 assists, I don't know. It's a weird problem to have. We talk about Sam Merrill. Sam Merrill played 7 minutes last night. LeVert's we didn't even talk about LeVert.
Yeah, LeVert's looked really good recently.
You're paying LeVert.
And LeVert's another option too. You could end up putting him at the point guard position or Mitchell at point guard.
LeVert fucking chucks the ball up every time he touches it.
And he doesn't distribute either. And that's just us just speaking out loud and trying to figure everything out with the Cavs. And I don't even want to say it's a good problem to have. Those injuries.
No, yeah, it's a sweet problem to have because we're playing really good.
And reality is going to end up hitting either way. If you end up trading away Jared Allen, like you're saying, you're going to end up having.
I don't know what they do. I don't think they trade Jared Allen. I don't think they trade Evan Mobley. They seem dead set on like trying to make this work and bring it, not reinvent the wheel, but like go back in time with it and have twin towers. I don't think they're gonna. You don't do it.
It didn't work when they had that play-in game, and I think you mentioned that last week too. Like when Mobley.
Well, I said last year, like Allen was banged up during the play-in when they did the play-in. But I think he's super valuable. I've turned my page on what I think about Jared. I do think he's a little soft, but I think he's a fucking monster.
Like Casey's been saying too, like it's super efficient that he's getting, and he's always quiet too. And you mentioned that last week. He's getting 20 and 15, 20 and 17. Like he's getting at least over 50.
Look up and he's got 20 points. It's just insane. Before we get off, because I know we're going to go off, I got to know about how you feel about Arthur Smith.
I mean, I'm kind of indifferent.
I think it's going to take about 3 weeks before George Pickens throws the water cooler at him.
And the thing is,
we see him out here doing double reverses to, the third string tight end and shit. That offense has so much firepower and I get it. They don't have quarterback right. I expect them to figure quarterback out. Your Steelers. I think they're going to go to vet or somebody.
I think so,
Fields.
too.
I think Fields to Pittsburgh makes a lot of sense. I think Russ, if he gets cut to Pittsburgh, makes a lot of sense. I think if Malik Willis gets cut, to bring Malik Willis in as a backup makes a lot of sense.
And I mean, Malik has.
I could also see Malik Willis going to be a Ravens backup. Tyler Huntley's a free agent if he gets cut. That's all speculation. But I just think that offense has too many weapons to be as dog shit as they are.
And like,
there's too many good players.
With the Steelers is the owner ended up mentioning, I think yesterday, a comment about that it's time to change the ways of Pittsburgh football recently. Like, they haven't been in a deep playoff run in a while. And the fact that the owner's saying that now, I mean, it's been a while since they made a deep playoff run. The last Super Bowl was back against the Packers that they lost, which is, I mean, it's been a while. It's been over 10, 12, 15 years almost. 15
I put one day. I think there was like 24 something coaches that won a playoff game more recently than my Tom one.
Yeah, and that's
I don't know. I just wanted how you felt about it. I don't want to get into it because I don't like.
I mean, with just to summarize, I mean, I'm thinking / hoping that ownership at least has an idea and they have a belief in him. And I just kind of bank it on that.
Stupid mustache too.
Which
the dumbass mustache. I don't know. I can't wait to see him fail. I think it's going to be a disaster. I think it's a stupid hire. I think he sucks.
The concern
he got his job because he ran Derrick Henry like there was no tomorrow. It's just like, yeah.
And you got Najee, you got Jalen Warren, but Najee might not be there next year. Jalen Warren's probably going to be your main back. And you don't want to see something happen like Derrick Henry, like you saw with.
I think Najee's really good.
And that's huge. 2 years ago, nobody's saying that. I mean,
I think he's still pretty good. I thought he had a good stretch run on season at the end. All right. We'll save this for next week on the We Like Sportz Show.
But one more final thought. I want to ask you a question in return.
All right.
Royal Rumble this past weekend. What were your thoughts? I mean, obviously the winners were pretty predictable.
Yeah. No,
but
we're good.
Did you like the overall show?
I think the production's definitely looks better. I'll say that. I don't know, man. When I look at the Rumble, I thought they were two people won it, and they didn't necessarily need to win it to tell a story.
No.
The story's there with Bailey and Io. They're going to do that. And the story's there with Cody and Roman. They're going to do that. I think the tease of Cody and Seth is just to buy Seth time while they try to figure it out.
But if they do change that,
Seth and Punk. No, they're not going to change that.
If they do, Cody. Though, it could work.
They're not going to. It's Cody and Roman. That's the story.
Regardless, though,
it could, but I mean, that's not the fucking story, people. I think the big thing that I got out of it was just how kind of I don't want to say tiresome the bloodline has gotten, but I think it's fucking hilarious. They keep doing the same spot with it with Solo.
Same shit, different show.
I think it's fucking, but there was just no reaction. There was no reaction to that. There was no reaction to him getting the pin. And that's when you should get worried in wrestling, when you're getting no reaction from your crowd. Cheers, boos, as long as you're getting something. To get nothing, I don't know. I thought the women's Rumble was better because it was fucking hilarious to me. Just from the True spot to the Chelsea Green spot, they're just funny. They're just funny spots in it. The men's Rumble felt kind of to me.
There's no nostalgia, and if you're a nostalgia person, you didn't get that.
Oh yeah, it just didn't feel like a Rumble. And I get it. We, in our head, we overhype it. We're like, who's gonna show up? And I was like, Sammy's gonna be 30. I fucking show you the group text that I called. I called Liv being 30. But I don't know. It was cool to see them bring people in the women's. The men's just kind of felt like, I don't want to say filler, but filler.
It wasn't the same as last year.
I love the Rumble. I love the Rumble because the Rumble is live gambling. It's just watching your parlay.
Yep.
It's this is it. 17. But then it's as you get to the end, it's you bet the over. And because overs are always in play when you bet. So it's I bet the over. And then it's all right, I'm home for somebody. Then it's all right, by the time the 30 hits, oh shit, the over's dead. It's that.
And I think the coolest part during the Rumble, my favorite part, obviously Braun Breaker, great to see an appearance by him. He looked very intense, and I think that's the best way to describe him. And the Wolf Dogs, your favorite tag team, I'm sure. And that's actually what's coming up now too. We're kind of leading you into NXT, oddly enough. But
NXT's been going.
I
Oh
also
yeah, no, it's not.
Our Truth though in the comedy spot for the men's too. With
Yeah, like the true shit's funny. Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like I don't know. Like we'll see where they go. Many seasons going to be interesting. I don't know if I'd like grade the Rumble. I'd say like a B minus, just because I was hoping for more. You were seeing the tweets and shit beforehand, and to get you thought maybe Max, maybe Okada, maybe this.
Yep.
And it's like
and
nothing.
we all got fooled, and I think that's the art of just.
Well, we do that to ourselves every Rumble.
Yep.
You're
always expecting something bigger, and I think that's just part of being a fan. But I mean, regardless, I think this is a great debate question for next week, and I think Casey's coming back up.
You can't do the great debates though, because Ed just plays favorites.
But
I just no, he does though.
Question though for next week, the great debate: R-Truth, is he a Hall of Famer? I want to hit on this, and I want Ed to be a part of it.
I refuse to participate in the next debates because Ed is just we have to look into the integrity of these moderators, and Ed's integrity is really coming into question for me.
Maybe we should start
that was
getting
a clean
guest
sweep.
moderators and just have somebody not
can't do guest moderators. No, Ed's biased. He needs to check that shit at the door. You were at January 6th. You stormed the Capitol.
Anyways, CJ, plug yourself on social media. Your new Twitter. It's not
I don't even
anymore.
know what I changed it to.
It's SEEJAY.
Oh yeah, it's CJ Hawk. I don't know. You'll see us in the clips. Who runs our Twitter for We Like Sportz? Maybe give me the login so I can start arguing with some people. I feel like whoever's doing it is giving some kiss-ass answers back.
Yeah, sometimes maybe we'll talk.
You watching the Pro Bowl? You watching the Pro Bowl?
Absolutely not. I'm not watching a flag.
God, you gotta watch it. It's so great. I can't wait for Pro Bowl.
Why?
I'm betting on the Pro Bowl.
Gardner Minshew, Pro Bowler. Did you see that?
I don't fucking know. I don't even know who's in it. I just took the NFC because Eli is funnier.
Patrick Mahomes, since he's in the Super Bowl, is in the Pro Bowl. Gardner Minshew got promoted, and that's a Pro Bowl quarterback after Anthony Richardson was hurt, which is kind of a surprise, but I mean, good for him. He ended up kind of changing the trajectory of what he had in the past in Jacksonville and Philadelphia.
Yeah, no, he's the new like Jeff Garcia, Josh McCown.
Oh yeah, definitely. Or
Tannehill. Fucking awesome. Yeah, no, Tannehill sucks.
Well, when he was a journeyman, Patrick, that might be a better one.
Yeah, no, yeah, he's gonna be a little. Yeah, he's kind of funny. He'll be on TV after. I don't know. But follow We Like Sportz Show. We just crossed 1.5 million views on the webpage since its existence. So like pat us on the back for that. Joe America, he's pumping out articles. Some other guys are pumping out articles.
We got a Vince that's pumping out articles. He's gonna end up popping on the show at some point too.
We're Senior Bowl's going on. I'll do a mock draft probably post Super Bowl, like a first round one.
We like that, and we like sports. But we'll see you guys next week. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at We Like Sportz PC.
That's what the P.
I was gonna let you throw up the ED if you wanted to.
Oh no, I'm not throwing up. He's a fucking little bitch.
God, you're so aggressive.
He just ruined the integrity. Like, didn't even answer the questions.
Regardless, we'll see you next week. Love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Tune in next week. Take care.